What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast, episode 304. How's everybody doing? What's up, chat? Shout out everybody hanging out in chat, all you beautiful people. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. Man, shout out to everybody who's been coming to the channel, showing love, the new subscribers, the new energy. The video's been doing well. You guys been liking all of that good stuff. So you want to support the show, subscribe, hit the like button. That does help the algorithm. Share that link out on Twitter as well. That's out there somewhere in the wild. I'm sure somebody will retweet that. So shout out to everybody, man. We got a packed panel. As you guys can see, we got a double header, man. We don't always do this, but it was a special week. We got a lot to talk about. I felt like I needed some extra people here to get through this. So we're gonna get through this today, man. But we're gonna start with our guests.
Umbra's like worth 4 people. Why do we need him here?
Man, this started before the show. By the way, Chad.
Pong has been harassing me in the background.
Oh, here we go. Victimhood. Here we go.
Early,
poor Umbra.
Got to start the campaign early, right, Umbra?
That's because it's his birthday, and I'm going to let him get away with it.
That's right. I can do what I want, so everybody get used to it. Let's go.
Shout out to Chad. We're gonna get into that too, man. We're gonna get into that. We got the AAA coupons. We got all that good stuff.
Yeah, we do
for you today, Pong. But shout out to
anything
you,
to save money, man. Anything.
For sure. We got great deals around here, man. But shout out to
Pong is PT Master Race now.
Yeah, I am that
That's true.
too.
That's true. We got to be careful around here. But shout out to you, man. Once again, let's get to our guests here, man. We got some amazing guests here. Both of these gentlemen have been here before. It's been a little bit, but they both been here before. Some of my favorite gamers, some of my favorite people in general to talk to. We game, we sit in parties. Matter of fact, me and Umbra were just in a party the other day. Shout out to Umbra. We was in there with Mav, Steel. We was in there just chopping it up. So we had a good time, man. But shout out to you, Umbra, for hanging out. Let everybody know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, no doubt. It was fun. Thanks for having me, you all. I don't know what else to say outside of, because I guess I'll sign off with everything I'm going to give you, but happy to be here to talk about gaming with you guys tonight.
Awesome, man. And shout out to you, man. You always, Umbra, bring people out. Umbra, I know you all humble and everybody don't look at you that way, but you bring the people out, man. So shout out to you, Umbra. Shout out to everybody.
I'm sorry, I just choked. Did you say humble? Jeez, Umbra and humble in the same sentence? Look, my God, that first time ever. Let's go.
If we're not talking about UE5, you're good. Like, as long as you're not talking about UE5,
that's the best engine, right?
So long as you don't slander UE, we good.
Exactly, you're fine. See, I understand how this goes. I understand how this goes. So we'll get into that. But shout out to you, Umbra. Once again, shout out to everything that you're doing. People, we roll out the red carpet for everybody here at the Shop Podcast, all the guests. So once again, all the information is in the description. Go show your support, go show your love, because they hang out with us, give us their time this evening, man. But we're going to go ahead and move on to our next guest. Once again, this gentleman has been here, actually works in the gaming industry. We're not going to get into some of the other stuff this man does. But shout out to you, 3-Bit, for hanging out with us, man. I don't want to get into your full LinkedIn. I know you're part-time insider as well, but I don't know if you want to reveal any of that.
I appreciate being on it. It's been a while since I've been on here.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
So for those that don't know me, I'm on the Fun Specs channel. FSP on Mondays. I do Ask 3-Bit honestly when I can at this point. But good to be here. Pong been holding me accountable to do that show. I'm like, oh man.
You went public and made a commitment, and I knew how flimsy that commitment was.
Oh wow,
I know. Oh man. But yeah, good to be here. Been a good gaming week. Played some more like Laggy, Jedi Survivor. Played some Coffee Talk. It's been pretty good. Pretty good week.
Awesome. Well, shout out to you for hanging out with us, man. We always enjoy having you here. I know you and Pong. I know you don't like to see him that often. I know we talk about that often.
He sees something.
Well. But shout out to having you here. We're gonna have a good time. It's a lot to talk about, man. It's one of them weeks where it's not hard to find a topic for sure. So we're gonna get into that. But we got to get into my right hand man, the two guys that make me look good, make the show look good. Grease the wheels here at the Shop Podcast. First, Mr. Pong Harvey. How you been, brother? I know you've been in your bag all week.
Yeah,
I know this week's been very interesting, but how you been?
Doing great. I had Fantastic birthday so far. Started off with
happy
over
birthday, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All the love from the community today has actually been truly overwhelming. Again, this is, man, I'm so happy I just found y'all and everybody in this community. It's incredible. And I really felt the love today. Started off the day with a 5-hour plus show with Steel. we got the 3.5 topics, I'll say, in 5 hours. So we just had a massive show, and had a ton of people turn out today. So that was awesome. But yeah, it's been one heck of a week. Getting used to, the PCMR life. Really, this adjusting to this has been eye-opening. I keep saying that, but it's the best way I can describe it. I've never experienced true PC gaming. I've played on buddies' PCs, but never to this level at all. And so for me, this has been giving me a new perspective on things. And it's very interesting as somebody who, podcasts and talks about gaming in the industry a lot. It's like having a brand new unknown console, right? It's like having like some new console that just showed up and you try it out for the first time and you learn some things. That's what PC has been like so far. So I'm definitely not going away from console gaming. I miss my couch way too much. I have a feeling I'm going to be running a wire from my PC to the TV so I can play on the couch from time to time. But I still popped on my Xbox this week, still played through the opening of Planet of Lana, which is absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Just a fantastic game. I suggest anybody download that from Game Pass and check it out. Really, it's just so well done, at least the opening section. And I've seen a lot of people already beat it. It's very short and are just absolutely raving about it. So go check out Planet of Lana. Checked out some Railway Empire 2 for a short bit as well. Love me some Railway Empire. I've played, train sim games, I guess you want to call them. All the way going back to Saturn. Like I have been playing rail sims for a long time. So having a blast with that as well. And on the PC side of things, like I said, I've been jumping around. Me and Steel put about 5-6 hours into Redfall. Like I said, I wasn't going to play that on console until it got the 60 frames patch. Obviously on PC, I don't have that issue. So we've been co-oping Redfall. And by no means is it the best Arcane game. It's not close. And I'm an Arcane fan. But at the same time, the way that I'm playing it's not bad in co-op, right? It's not great, but it's not bad. It has its issues. It has its problems. But overall, we've been having a good time with that. And then actually popped in some Death Stranding. And I know everybody says, oh yeah, Kojima, Walking Simulator, great, have fun. Drop dead gorgeous game. I can't believe how beautiful. Well, I can because I rave about the Decima engine all the time. I think it's one of the best engines out there when it comes visually, and this shows me that it's simply fantastic walking around that world. And I actually enjoy Kojima games, so I'm having a good time with that as well. But PTK, this week of news, man, bro. Again, what I mean. Like we went in that week with Redfall thinking we were going to have a different conversation. We went in the week prior to that with the CMA thinking that, that week that the CMA was going to drop their decision. We were all positive and we would be having a great conversation that week. This week, we thought we were going to be having a totally different conversation about the PlayStation Showcase. And here we are today. Man, oh man, this gaming industry is fun. Let's go. Let's talk about it.
Let's get into it, man. But first, we got to get into it with Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. How you doing, brother? Been an interesting week. Got a lot to talk about. I know you've been on a couple shows all week. Shout out to Boom. Shout out to Mav. I'm sure Mav will pop up in chat. Everybody at FSP. But yeah, man, how you been?
Oh, been pretty good. Been playing some games. Some Forza Horizon 5. This week's season, got all the cars, completed that. So looking forward to next week's setup.
Congratulations, Fuzz. Man, that's big.
And then we got got a couple cars for GT7, so enjoyed those and got some words about the PlayStation Showcase in reference to that movie trailer, but we'll get into that later. And playing some Division, so it's Golden Bullet week, so everything is like 1,000 RPM as far as the rate of fire. But other than that, playing some more Undisputed, a couple of new boxers on that as well, and having fun with that. They still need to work on the arm fatigue, but as far as the gaming news, yeah, I got a lot to say with that as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not going to take any more time. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, man. Shout out to chat. Shout out to everybody, man. Mac, Talos, Shonsu, everybody hanging out, man. Appreciate all you guys. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live, man. Let's get into it. So normally this part of the show we reserve for the poll of the week, but because we had such a big topic, and I know we're going to need every single minute to talk about this, every single minute to spare, especially this week for sure. I want to we're going to forego the poll of the week, but shout out to the 1,700 plus people who voted on a poll of the week, man. You guys went crazy, and it's been getting bigger every single week. So if you want to take advantage of that, be a part of that, come holler at me, come follow me on Twitter. That's where it's at. I'll put it up every single Monday. Then we talk about it here every Saturday at the Shop Podcast, man. But we jumping in feet first this week, guys. I'm not even going to sugarcoat anything. We jumping in head first. We got to talk about this PlayStation Showcase. So we ripping the Band-Aid off. No, none of that. We jumping in. We start with the guest, Umbra. I know we talked about this, brother. And this week did not go how any of us expected. And mind you, so I want to make sure I make this clear. The entire community was on the same page. This was not some pocket of the community that said this show was going to be good. All of us said this was going to be a good show. I felt like it was pretty unanimous. I didn't really see very many people like, I don't think the show is going to be good. Some people popped up afterwards. You know how the Monday morning quarterbacks are, right? Oh, I was right all along. But either way, where are you at on this show, man? What happened? You know, what was your initial reaction when things were going on? Any highlights? Just where you at?
Man, I'm wishing that I could go back in time, and I'm sure they wishing they can go back in time and erase that showcase and do it over. I mean, it just wasn't a good showcase at the end of the day, right? I've heard, you know, people will say, "Oh, yeah, just Xbox." See, you were saying that because you're an Xbox guy. No, I've seen plenty, surprisingly, plenty of PlayStation guys destroy this show. I mean, curse out PlayStation even. You know, they're probably overreacting there, but yeah. I mean, it just wasn't a good show. It wasn't a good representation. It had two first-party games that were worth a damn with, what was it, Helldivers 2 and Spider-Man. Everything else was either multi-plat. Yeah, actually, everything else was multi-plat. And it was all service games. Like, that's the thing I think that struck it harder. Like, we were talking in the party the other day, Blam, and I mentioned that it was a harder pill, I think, for the PlayStation fan base to swallow because this isn't their forte. They prefer single player games. You know what I mean? They just do.
Yep.
You know, it's not to say that they don't play multiplayer, but they, as far as first party goes, they prefer first party. It means first party to stay single player. And this is just I think maybe the problem is they gave one too many gas titles at once. Because it was like 6 of them, right? If I'm not mistaken.
It was quite a few. It was quite a few.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's, even thinking of some of them just, they kind of bleed into one another after you see so many. It's like,
But not Foam Stars, Umbra. Not
Foam
Foam
Star-
Stars. That
Oh.
stood out.
That stood out particularly as one of the worst for me. I was like, what is this? As we were watching it in a watch party, when we watched it, all of us just cringed seeing that part, particularly because I thought when I first saw it, I saw the cape and everything blowing in the wind. They picked up the gun. I'm like, oh, is this the new Final Fantasy or something? Rebirth? What's this? And then it's like neon signs and soap. And it was like, okay.
Splatoon.
Yeah, it's
For
Splatoon.
sure.
The better looking Splatoon.
blatant Splatoon too.
Rip off, yes.
Yeah, it just didn't look good to me. I was just like, nah, it's
So
not my style.
before you get too deep into your bag, I want to kind of push you in sort of a trajectory here, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So I know you were talking. We talked about this, by the way, in the party chat. Shout out to everybody watching live right now. But we talked about this in the party chat just regarding. So I think the thing for me, and I'm pretty sure you'll follow me here on this, is that I went in not knowing much. Most of us didn't know much. Even the diehard Sony fans didn't know much about the direction of Sony, where they're going, what's the roadmap look like, what is ahead of us, right, in the next year and a half. I left the show knowing even less about where they're going. And ultimately, I think that's a problem for me. So, like, you didn't give anybody, even with the trailers might as well have been billboards, because you really didn't even give us much information regarding. And I'm not going too hard on obviously some of the, like, Haven. That was their first trailer for their first game. I'm not gonna grill them too much on that. you have to generate hype. So I understand why the trailer may be what it was. You know, I don't mind CGI on that very, very first trailer, but just where you at on like ultimately the direction. Did you kind of feel like it didn't feel like it was going anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, it felt directionless in a way. I mean, because you didn't even get, as part of the issue too, was that they didn't set up the future with Xbox. When you look at it and contrast the two, Xbox has had to put out a roadmap for us, and you know we understand what's to come. You have a few things you know that PlayStation is making. Like we know they're making Cory Barlog is making a game. We know that they were, but they still are working on Factions, but now we know that's been delayed, and we don't know for how long because they're going way back to the drawing board for that. But that's really where it kind of ends at. You might hear something, I guess Sony Bend, I think you might know, right? That they're working on something. But we have no idea what's going on. What's the plan? Nothing was shown to be for 2024 outside of Concord, which is again another gas title. Also, like even with Spider-Man, it was like, oh, the fall. It felt like a lack of confidence. And before, we all thought, I'm pretty sure I wasn't alone in this, that with them saying, announcing that they'll be going May 24th, that they had a lot of confidence going into this. Like, oh man, they're about to show us some good stuff because they don't usually, yeah, they don't usually go first like this, you know. And maybe they were confident, but maybe overconfident, right? And you know, a lot of people pointed out this is the Jim Ryan era. This is where he's now actually running the show. It's not, you know, under the previous regime, if you will. So maybe the fact of it is that this is what he thinks is, wants to push on his consumers and thinks this is what they want. I don't think this is what they want. As a matter of fact, I mean, they made it clear. This is why they revolted so much. This is not what they want. And I think it's just a poor representation of how you can actually outlay what to expect outside of seeing gas titles. I think that's what they're showing their future is going to be. And a lot of fans saw that and were like, no, thank you. Again, and I'll go back. Even when you go to, if you look at the showcase, and I pointed this out to Blam, I don't know if you remember, but I said, you look at the third-party games that were there, which were is basically a light preview of Xbox games to come, right? Because we saw so many games we know we're going to get.
Yeah, about 12 specifically.
Yeah, a lot. Exactly.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta, whatever you want to call it, that was spoiled before the show. So, and we knew it was coming here. So that did nothing. It didn't show any gameplay. It just showed him close up, whatever. I don't know if it's supposed to be an engine or whatever. I'm guessing that's the case. I'm sure 3-Bit would know more, but that did nothing. It took that oomph away, because now when you see it, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we knew that was coming. All right. And okay, so they had Dragon's Dogma 2. That was a good one. I said Phantom Blade Zero initially, right? But now that we've learned more information, now we know that's like somewhat of a scam. You know what I mean? It's like
potentially
is like a scam. And they come from a mobile thing. That doesn't mean they can't make anything grander. But the thing is that now we know there was 3 people working on it. Now they try to supposedly get a more significant amount of people working on it.
There was 3 people working on it.
3 people.
And I think the mobile version is not even finished.
It's not. Also, by the way, that what we saw, Telos, because I see he said it looks like Wolong. We don't know what that game is going to look like, because that was an in-engine representation. That wasn't actual gameplay that we saw.
Yeah.
So I was just taken back when I saw the details. I'm like, oh. Now, first I was like, hey, Phil, you guys going to get on this, brother? And then I saw the details. I'm like, okay, so it's not Money had it, so it's not like they have exclusivity. PlayStation, they're not publishing it. I forgot their name. S Studio, S Class, whatever.
S Game.
S Game. Thank you.
Yep.
They're actually publishing it and developing it.
That's a Chinese publisher, I believe, correct? Yeah,
it is. But you have if you have not paid attention, there are it's a bunch of Chinese games out there that are basically vaporware. Like AJ has pointed out, exactly. It's a bunch of them out there. What was that? Lost Soul Aside. How many years has it been? I mean, still haven't seen anything from that.
That was on a PlayStation side, right? PlayStation
Absolutely. It seems like they kind of sold us a bill of goods, a bad bill of goods. So now I can't even give them Phantom Blade because that was one of my biggest ones outside of Spider-Man. I was like, okay, well, Phantom Blade looks real good. That's a good get for them. Now, not so much. So outside of that, outside of all the things coming even to us, part of the issue is we knew about so many of these games. We already saw them in gameplay. Plucky Squire. I saw people like, oh, Plucky Squire. We saw that last year. Gameplay and all. Yeah, Devolver Digital had a whole showcase where it showed it.
Great game, by the way.
Yeah,
the
it looks
game,
beautiful.
I
Cannot
love
wait.
that. Yeah,
Cannot wait
It's
to
coming to
play it.
Game Pass too, isn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely. Yep, I believe so.
I believe that one is coming to Game Pass.
I believe
Cannot wait to play it. It looks great. You got Plucky Squire. You had Street Fighter 6. You had, what else did they have that we had already seen? Immortals
Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy 16,
Yep.
Immortals of Avium.
Yep.
All of those we had seen. Assassin's Creed Mirage, we've seen gameplay of that already. Now they showed more, but we had seen that. So all those lacked any oomph for me. So that I think that was another thing that hurt them. So that on top of all these multi-plats, first party even multi-plats, I think really hurt them overall. And just a lack of a transparent outline of what to expect for the future.
Yeah.
It was just a poor show all around. And then of course the GT trailer. Like, why would you put that in there? It was like insult on top of insult. Yeah, I guess.
Right before the biggest game of the show, mind you, right before the biggest game of the show.
That was a little disrespectful.
Yeah, a little bit. And once again, mind you, so I just want to make sure we make this clear, chat, because I know there's going to be some people in the comment section. We all felt good about this show. I want to make sure we make this clear. There was nobody here in the chat, and I'm sure nobody here on this panel felt none of us was doom and gloom. Nobody was like, I'm hearing some bad things about. No. We all felt really good about the show. Maybe, unknowingly, obviously at this point, hindsight is always 2020, but I'm gonna throw this over to you, 3-Bit, because I was in chat. Shout out to, Mav. I'm sure he's in here. He'll be lurking here shortly. Shout out to everybody at FSP as well. And you guys, I mean, watching the show along with you guys, I mean, it was something, the reaction that you guys had.
Yeah, you saw like our happiness just slowly dwindle throughout the show.
Dissipate, bro. Yeah, just dissipate.
Going into the show, I was feeling pretty hyped. Like
Same. Yeah.
I seen all the rumors. Like, okay, faction. I'm ready for factions. It's been two years. It's time. To see some of the things they've been working on. And so going into the show, I was feeling pretty hyped. The end result of that, like my final rating was a 4 out of 10. As a gaming showcase, it had some games, right? It had some games I was looking forward to. It had Alan Wake 2, it had Metal Gear Solid 3 remake alongside the collection. I'm a huge Metal Gear fan. So overall it had some good games, but for a PlayStation showcase, where mostly everything was multi-plat, which is something you think they would do for like a state of play, right?
Yeah.
But not for like an official showcase, like or maybe section it out, like maybe some multi-plats in the beginning and then just like exclusive.
Yeah.
How many other showcases have we seen where you just like PlayStation exclusive? So it's been 2 years since their last showcase, and we get barely a sliver of these first party titles, and not to mention games we've been expecting to see, like factions.
Exactly.
Like they didn't until like what they announced it to basically be delayed, like 2
on
days.
Twitter.
So it's been delayed since back in June 2020. That was a huge disappointment for me, not seeing factions there. And a showcase to me is supposed to display what is coming in the future. And like you said, PTK, like this did not show me where PlayStation is headed.
Yeah.
And if you realize, Jim Ryan kind of stated, like kind of confidently in the show, he's like, this is what you could expect coming out of PlayStation. This is what I like. What,
man?
So that was like, you have the media pushing back. It's like they're holding back. I mean, according to Jim Ryan, I don't know. He said this is what
I don't know. That's a weird strategy, buddy. Let's get killed intentionally. Let's put the worst show together possibly. Let's throw that out there. We know we're gonna get killed for that, but we're gonna get this back on the back end, boys. Like that's a terrible strategy.
Yeah. I'm just wondering what they were like expecting the show to be like. Okay, we got the Spider-Man, we got the Metal Gear. Okay, we're good. I wonder what it was like behind the scenes. But I don't know. This show to me was a 4 out of 10 as a PlayStation showcase. As a gaming
Yeah.
show, there were titles I think we all on the panel are interested in, right?
Yep, definitely.
Like if we were to take this and it wasn't a PlayStation show and just
Summer
have a
Games
separate
Fest or
rating,
something.
like a Summer Games Fest, yeah, I think it would be like a 7 or
Mhm.
something like that. The flow of the show, it started off strong, but then you had like a slowdown near the end with the VR titles. Then you had the movie trailer near the end, and I remember thinking near the end when Jim Ryan popped up on the screen, like, is that it? Like, where's Factions?
Yeah,
Where's
for a
all these
minute,
games?
I almost consider not seeing Spider-Man. I'm like, this is not going to happen. There's no way we're not gonna see at least Spider-Man. There for a second
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, if we didn't see Spider-Man, I don't ever know what my rating would be. Like pretty, like maybe like a 2 or even a 1. Yeah, so yeah, it started off strong, and then you got those VR titles, and then it just felt disrespectful to see the Gran Turismo trailer. I was like, how dare they show? I just felt disrespected. But Spider-Man pretty much held up this show. They needed more first-party titles from titles we expected. They needed more gameplay. There were way too many titles where it didn't give you a vision for what the game could be.
Yeah.
Maybe even like a vertical slice for an event
Yeah.
like this would help, because like that Starfield type game, like I don't know what that is. I forgot what it's called.
The one made
Concord?
by Firewalk Concord. Yeah, the one made by
Concord.
Firewalk.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I just seen a
Mhm.
sandwich. I seen some Starfield type font. I don't know
That
what
was
that
it.
game is.
That was it.
I will
yeah.
say the burger looked better than Starfield's sandwich.
That's
Yeah,
true,
that
right?
burger
A
looked
little
pretty
bit.
good.
A little bit.
Yeah,
The
just a little
reflection, the reflection on that cheese was truly next gen.
Yeah. There was some. Did it have a tomato in there? Did I see a tomato?
Yeah, I think so.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty.
It was a
nice.
deluxe burger.
Yeah, that burger looked pretty nice. But like when you're creating a game, you when you pitch it to different studios, you create vertical slices. So for the most part, I would have liked to see that, like a vertical slice of some of these games that only receive like CGI trailers. And to me, this is their E3 moment, where you talk to these studios and you go like, look, this is where we show the vision for what's to come. You pull out all the stops, show some surprises, give the people some oomph, and leave the show at like a mic drop moment. And this show didn't have that to me at all. We all kind of knew Spider-Man was gonna be
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
Wasn't a lot. Metal Gear was nice to see. That was cool. But there wasn't a lot of oomph for this show, and it was very underwhelming, which is sad, because again, we all came into the show kind of hyped. We're like, okay, PlayStation's going to bring it. They're going to kick Xbox while they're down, because it's been pretty doom and gloom for the Xbox side quite some time for just different reasons. So they're going to kick Xbox while they're down. You got all these games coming, and yeah, it wasn't that. But what do you guys think?
No. Once again, like, listen, it was very, very underwhelming. It was alarming. It got to a certain point where we're 30 minutes in, 40 minutes in, 50 minutes in. I'm like, what is happening? Like on my screen, like what is going on here? Like I'm not seeing. Where is Bend? Where is Sony Santa Monica? I don't see Corey Barlog. It's funny because you mentioned and this might have gone unnoticed with the whole Factions thing. But one of the devs or previous devs from Ben came out and said, man, if they would have just let us work on, Days Gone 2, we would have had it out 5 days before the showcase.
Yeah. It was like that.
Yeah, he said, look, we would have had Days Gone 2 out 5 days before the showcase if they would have let us work on it. So, like,
and all these studios are closing down too. It's like,
yeah. We didn't get to see that, the game, the multiplayer game that Deviation was supposed to be working on, because they shipped off, like, they laid off like 90 some odd devs. So a lot is going on over there at Sony. My one question though, and I asked this, I made a video about it, but I asked this, how is this multiplayer thing going to work for Sony? Because not only do they actually have to make a compelling game, a game that they can sell to the PlayStation fan base, but they actually have to make a game that can be played for more than 6 months.
Yep.
I
And,
mean,
like,
it's
how-
a risky thing. It's a risky thing for
How
them
is
to
that
get
going to
into.
work out? And you don't, your fan base isn't conditioned. Like they stopped making those games. And shout out to Sony because it's been great. It hasn't hurt the money. Like the business model has been fine up until recently, until Game Pass, until things like that became more relevant. As other forms of, other ways to play video games. Now you need this service like system to continue to, make money, continue to generate income. So like you have to make multiplayer games. You can no longer ignore that part of gaming. So how is that going to go? And to me, it's a resounding hell no. And I think the PlayStation community, I didn't see anybody excited about any of those games as a service games, even the first party ones. And PlayStation gamers love first party stuff. I mean, I like PlayStation.
And they were mad. They were mad, PTK, that the games as service games were going to PC. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They're
You
always
think-
like that.
You think your Sony fan base is going to carry a games as a service? Come on, man. Come
I'm
on.
telling you, this is the question that I had. And I always said that's a fair question. If we can ask Xbox to go out and make a third-party narrative God of War like Last of Us like game, can you guys do that, Xbox? We can damn sure ask Sony or PlayStation, can you guys make a game? Can you guys ship a game that not only has single player but multiplayer as well? I feel like that's a fair question, right? I don't think that's too
I think
far
the best
gone.
way to do it is actually not through their through these huge GAS experiences. I actually think the best way to do it is through their huge AAA blockbuster games that they already have, like Spider-Man. Like we talked about before Spider-Man.
The whole
was
co-op thing
revealed,
too,
like
that they just
co-op.
had, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it seemed like a perfect opportunity to try co-op for a game like Spider-Man, have people swing around the city. I know, and it's a sequel, so I'm expecting something bigger, something a little bit more ambitious. If they want to start having these services, these live services, start putting it in games that people already recognize, and then getting people used to the idea, and then put in some GAS, because they just seem like they don't want to do it or they're still in experimenting stage. So I don't know.
I think it's that too, 3-bit, but then we all know that gas titles, typically most of them fail. So
they know they're gonna. Some of them are
exactly.
gonna fail.
They already know.
So it's less risky doing it that way.
Didn't they say 12 or 13 in the next few years?
10, I think they
Ain't
said.
no more.
It was
They're
10.
down to about 7 now that Bungie showed up. So
Quality control. But the filter.
But Bungie's sitting back sniping these off, man. They're like, hell no.
No.
How
Bring
funny.
that
Microsoft
paperwork.
plant.
No, CC me on that email. Don't you try it. You better not.
How funny, by the way, that Bungie stepped in as the new, first party studio,
Yeah.
sniped those, and then said, "Here's
by the way,
Marathon." By the way,
Marathon. Yeah. Let us show you how the experts do it, boys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny thing. I didn't even catch that. But I mean, I don't feel like that's intentional because Bungie gonna get their shit off anyway. They don't need to take a backseat to anybody. But
And
it
they
is
obviously
ironic.
And they obviously deemed that Havens was worthy and Firewalks was
to
worthy.
lead the
so
show
those two
and-
survived.
yeah.
So
For now.
They made the cut. They made the cut, man. No, for real. It's like this show just God, man. Like I don't even know where to start, man. Like it's just such a weird series of events, man. But I know we're gonna throw this over to you, Pong. I know we got to get into it, man. But where you at on this part? I know you talked about this all week. I watched you. I watched it, with you guys at FSP. Shout out to Mav as well. I know he's in here. Shout out to Caitlin. You guys had a ball with this, man, and you guys are all over the place. But where you at now? Now that it's marinated, bro. Like, have you? What's happened, man? Has it gone up? Has it gotten any better?
It's still tasting stale. Actually, it's tasting more stale at this point.
What was your rating on the show, Pong?
I mixed my two ratings because, like I said, I think there's two perspectives that you can take with this showcase. You can look at it from a pure game standpoint, like you said, 3-bit, and you could see that they did show games. So if you're just looking at it from games, there was games there, and there was games that I was interested in, right, that had really good showings, like Dragon's Dogma 2, right? I thought that knocked it out of the park. So I would give that one a higher. Like I said, that would probably be like a 6.5, 7, maybe, if I looked at it from a pure game standpoint. But judging it as the first PlayStation showcase after 2 years of
600
nothing.
plus days, man.
Yeah, no. Then I knocked it down to a 3. So overall, I gave it a 5. But I knocked it. If I'm looking at it purely from a PlayStation first party perspective, I'm saying that this is a 3. Okay, this is not the Sony you expect to roll in after 2 years. You've got one, and I know they're confident because it is Spider-Man 2, but you've got one AAA game this year, right? That's it. And I don't care what anybody wants to say about Final Fantasy 16. Those don't count. Those rules were made for Xbox long ago. So guess what? We're not going to count those, all right? You got one first-party AAA game this year. You don't have a roadmap for 2024, 2025. Your most hardcore fan base has zero clue to what you've got coming. So that's why I think everybody just assumed that the old Sony was going to show up, that this was going to be 2015, 2016, whatever it was, with the hopes and dreams, lay out the roadmap for the generation, right? For most of the next, at least 4 years, a generation, show us some
we
glimpses.
were okay with the hopes and dreams, Paul.
Correct.
We were
correct,
okay
because
with
it turned out, right? Because they nailed that hopes and dreams for PS4, right? So we just assumed, and again, what's interesting here, PTK, is that there's no plastic lines here. This showcase across the board, whether you're a Sony fan, whether you're an Xbox fan, whether you're neutral, it doesn't matter. The majority of people agree that this showcase was terrible. It was disappointing is probably the best word I can use for it. And I think that speaks volumes. And Sony, what was interesting to me as I kind of sat back and digested it, and there are a couple things that popped up while I let it marinate too, and I've talked about them a little bit. Number one, I think this showcase would have looked completely different to people. Maybe not like 8s or 9s, but I think that the feel coming out of this showcase would have been completely different if those third-party titles, or most of them, had day and date attached to PS Plus Premium, like Game Pass. Right? And I think that is a huge difference, because the first, PTK, you were listening to us, so you know, it was like the first 30, 45 minutes, all of us said almost the exact same time, this feels like an Xbox showcase, right? This feels like an Xbox showcase, how they were playing it out, how the pacing was. It was actually really good pacing, I thought, in the beginning for sure. And so we were like, it feels like an Xbox showcase. But the difference is that there's no day and date subscription service attached to those third-party titles. Because when we watch an Xbox showcase, they're coming out and saying, and the next group of games are all in Game Pass day and date, and we're all rubbing our hands together going, come on, show me these third parties. Who's coming?
The thing is, Pong, people don't really these are the moments, these are those moments where you understand the viability of Game Pass. This is why Game Pass is such a big play. This is why it's one of those things that they can always not hold over the competition's head, but they can always use in very strategic ways just to make the impact of some of these games even larger than the actual announcement. It's because it's coming to Game Pass day one.
Yeah, and as a gamer, as you're watching the showcase as a gamer, right, it gives a different feeling. We've talked about that. Game Pass day and date games almost feel like exclusives when they're announced, because we know they're already a part of our subscription. We already know our wallet's a little bit fatter, and we can buy a different game now. Right? So it gives a different feeling when you see those Game Pass day and date games. And then, Sony right now, they had a conference. They were at some conference where both Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst talked earlier this week. And I thought this aligned. I don't think it was coincidental that it lined up this way with the showcase. They were at a conference this week touting, PSVR 2 numbers, talking about 600K, talking about their growth and how they were going to start shifting resources, money specifically, over the next 4 years, more towards games as a service, but, obviously keep the single players. But I think it was like 2026 or something like that. They were going to have 60% of their resources committed to multiplayer games as a service and 40% committed to their single player. Both of those were increased total amounts, right? So it's not like they're chopping away at their single part. They're actually going to pump more money into the single player, third person narrative driven games, but they had this 60% added for games as a service multiplayer type games. They talked about in that they were promoting the diversity of their lineup and what they were trying to do. This all sounded, because they talked about cloud gaming, this all sounded exactly like Xbox. It was copied and pasted, okay? But the fact is that Sony is now starting from behind because they relied on third parties for so long to fill all the gaps in their lineup. beyond their big third-party narrative-driven games and your Ratchet and Clank here and your Returnal here and the oddball game that they do have that doesn't fit that, they use third parties. Well, they're way behind now, and that's why they've been acquiring all these studios. So what I found interesting was they had this, this whatever it was called, but they did interviews and stuff. They were actually up there. They had slideshows and everything else. So it was at some meeting. I didn't look into it too big outside of the information that they gave, but they had that earlier in the week. And then they show up with this showcase, and this showcase was all the genres that they don't currently have, right, in their first party wheelhouse. So they started showing the diversity of their first party by starting off the show with Haven and Fair Games, right? They started showing what has been in the works, not their big games. Spider-Man, they bookended it with, which is great. You knew that was coming, right?
Yeah, we already knew that was coming.
So, but the whole show seemed to be dedicated to just convincing everybody that we're secure. We got a bunch of different genres. Don't worry, whatever you're playing, we got for you, right? So I think that's what the whole showcase kind of was. But as fans, right, who are used to the old Sony dominating last generation, showing up, every showcase that they did do with new first party, home runs, the ones that they want. Now this was a shock. This was a gut punch to them. And for us, expecting the old Sony, we were just as shocked. We were like, what is this? This ain't Sony. And
you have
I think
PlayStation Studios coming out too and being like, we'll be there. And they weren't there.
Right. They weren't there. And I think that's why the disappointment is so high in this showcase. It just was a letdown. Again, as Umbra pointed out, them going prior to Xbox to kick off the showcase season, right? I thought also was a sign of confidence. Because if you were going to have this type of showcase, if you are holding any games back, which I do believe some of the insiders, Tom Henderson and those guys throwing out smoke that they saw other trailers, I think they do have some things still to show. But if you're going to do this prior to the Xbox showcase, you better come fully loaded, right? You better not come, with dipping your toes in this pool, because this is exactly what it's going to look like to people at the end of it. Like, what? Why not just hold all of it and go after? Yeah.
There's no way they looked at this and said, this is a good strategy. Let's run with this.
Jim did.
No. Listen. Yeah. Like, there's no way that they looked at this and said, this is a good strategy. And this is why I get the whole insider thing. People saying that maybe they saw some other things. That's possible. But what the hell happened? What conversation transpired to where you could go, you know what? Let's rip all of this stuff out. Let's save it for Keighley or for a later show. Yeah. Like, let's go ahead and just take the hit right on the face. We're going to get hit right in the face, going to get punched in the nose. We'll be okay. Let's do this intentionally.
I think Bungie happened.
Yeah, Bungie happened. And we'll talk about that, I guess, if we get into the specifics, because I think there's a reason why Gran Turismo's trailer was there. And I'll talk about that then. I'll just end it with this. We had known quantities, like you guys all said. Metal Gear had already been leaked. Metal Gear would have been a big moment had it not been leaked, right? But at the same time, as soon as it was found out to be multi-plat, for the Sony fans, that shine would have gone away instantaneously, right? Yeah. That would have been their side still. Oh, it's multi-plat. Oh, cool, great. We're getting Metal Gear, awesome. That's the way it would have been. And Spider-Man was already known to be there. Obviously, we knew that was coming.
Yeah, definitely.
And the thing is with Spider-Man, and we'll talk about it specifically, I think probably here at some point. But Spider-Man 2, the fact that it's a known IP, and the fact that we've now had if you count the PS5 version, we've had 3 Spider-Man, so this will be number 4 in 5 years. It's starting to wear thin. And with Insomniac, I'm not saying the game looks.
Pandora's box?
I'm not saying the game looks bad at all. I'm not saying any of that when I say this. But the fact that Insomniac in many ways didn't raise the bar and make this game stand out as a PS5 only Spider-Man also obviously deflates the entire showcase. Because I think when everybody saw it, everybody was kind of expecting Insomniac to take the next big leap with this game, even though realistically the time that they were given And I think that there's an interesting talking point there too. Some people agree, some people don't. But the time they were given to get this thing done didn't give them the opportunity to push it as far as they probably could have. And so when everybody saw it and realized, okay, cool, we're getting Spider-Man. Again, it's going to sell 20, 30 million copies. Again, it may even be up for Game of the Year nominations. I'm not doubting that. This is an easy W for Sony. But when it comes to a showcase, you're seeing the same thing that you've pretty much played over the past 5 years, 3 different times.
You know what's crazy, Pong?
Yeah.
I heard that you're not the only person saying that, and I wondered if anybody's going to speak up about that, because I'm not going to lie. Now, we had this conversation too, and Umbra, I'm pretty sure you remember in Party Chat we talked about this. I said, was it the show that took away from Spider-Man, or did Spider-Man not sell me any more than I was already sold on it?
Yeah,
no. I didn't feel like it did. And once again, that might be a hot take, but I'm with you on that, Paul, because I didn't get. I don't know what I was looking for out of Spider-Man, because Insomniac, like you said, the standard is they tend to raise the bar every single time, and I didn't feel that way about what I saw.
I felt like that with the Miles Morales. Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
I felt more surprised by the Miles Morales trailer and more shocked than I did with Spider-Man 2. Which I
Correct.
I'll say maybe it's a polishing thing. Maybe they have more polish to put to it. I do trust Insomniac.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a great game. Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, I guess, even if it's not for me, it's going to be good. I mean, absolutely, people are going to praise it. So,
but as far as visuals though, like one of the things we all picked up on is just how. I'll be honest. I don't think I was impressed visually outside of a few scenes or. At least the costume work, the costume work, obviously that looks really good. But I think, some of the
you mean the trash bag over Venom or over the symbiote
suit? The symbiote suit was a little. I didn't care for the symbiote suit, the design that much. It looked a little puffy, and I guess I'm just used to the comic style design of it, so it was odd to see it that way. But I'll say, I feel like the polish wasn't there. Maybe that's why it came off the way it did. I'll say this too: when we were in the watch party. One of my first thoughts was, is this going to be cross-gen? Because it didn't look like it was overly demanding of the PS5 to me, outside of a few things, I guess, from the water area. And it did have, you could see that they pulled from Naughty Dog's book when they, had Miles surfing on the wood and stuff like that. Like, that looks pretty dope. But I did hear somebody point out there was a lot of quick time events in the press triangle, QTEs, and so I don't know. I think it's more of the same. So maybe that's why people weren't so impressed.
Correct.
I think the fact is also too, you ended the show with a known quantity, and typically you want to end the show with something we hadn't seen.
Right,
something major, and
the
showcase
one last thing, right?
Yeah, and the point of emphasis after not being 600 plus days, you have to read the room, right? Like there's going to be a point of emphasis on the show, no matter when you decided to drop. You know what I mean? It could have been May, could have been June, July. It doesn't make a difference. Essentially, your gamers want to see, your fan base wants to see what you got to show, and they didn't show that. They didn't come with anything any of us expected. You know what I mean?
And let's take a step back too here and realize once again, because we're always in this bubble, because we all live and breathe this stuff, right? To the average consumer out there who reads the IGNs, who go, just hears casually, all they hear is that Sony showed up with about 30 games, right? And that Spider-Man 2 was showing off and it's coming sometime fall. And they get all excited. Like, they're not dissecting this showcase the way we do. They're not looking at it. They don't look at it like the Sony enthusiasts, the fanboys on that side. They don't care about any of that. Sony, and I gotta give a shout out to Oh No It's Alex, because I heard him on another show talk about this too, and I think it's something that we all sometimes forget or need to realize. I think some of us definitely do when we talk about it sometimes. But we're now at this point in 2023 with this gaming industry that the enthusiast. We used to be like almost the entirety of the base. Back in the day when we used to get bullied for playing video games, like we were the video game industry, right? That was us. Everything was catered around our likes. Now, especially now that Sony's trying to transform themselves and move out of the console space and try to go after that 2 billion, 3 billion market, these showcases aren't always going to be catered to us anymore. There's going to be things that they show that just aren't appealing to us. We've had that at Xbox showcases, right? And now Sony is stepping into that realm, and there are things that they're doing to try to grab more casual players that absolutely 100% aren't going to appeal to the enthusiast, to the hardcore gamers, whatever you want to call it. And I think that that's another adjustment, just for us watching Sony showcases, but for their fan base as well, that it's not all about you guys anymore. It's not all about that. Like they are dedicating time and resources to create more games that you guys don't like, because you guys have been trained to think only the third-person narrative-driven game is premium gaming. And Sony did that themselves to their fan base. They cultivated this attitude. Now they're going to have to deal with it when they have these types of showcases, when they show other things other than that premium experience that they've been pounding into people's heads over the past generation. This is kind of what you get.
Man, look, listen. And it's funny because before we throw this over to you, Fuss, because I know you got to jump in here, but I want to make sure we highlight this. And like I said, I made a video about this. I'm asking everybody here in chat. I'm asking everybody here on the panel. How is this multiplayer transition going to look like for PlayStation? Are they going to be able to pull this off? We have zero evidence that they can make a decent multiplayer game. That their community is going to be able to support that, right? I mean, you got to try, right? Like, I think we all understand. You got to try. You got to use resources. You got to be able to do it. But like, is realistically? Do you see the response when they saw some of them game of service games? They were like, some of them dudes on stream looked like they got served child support papers.
It was awful
in the middle of their stream. Like,
bro, did you see MBG's rant?
Man, look, don't even get me started.
Listen, man, if you are that upset over games as a service, it might be time to find a new hobby, sir.
That's what I'm saying. What if so imagine this. Imagine this. There's a world where SOCOM gets shown on that screen and everybody's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, a lot of these newer fans
don't say that.
What is this? Can you listen though? 3-bit, you gotta
Blam.
3-bit. The SOCOM is us. We know what SOCOM is.
I was gonna say, I would doubt many of their fans nowadays would know what that is.
Can you imagine had they shown that and the Xbox community was more excited and hyped about SOCOM than their own fan base?
I'm starting to think that they could have rolled SOCOM out. They could have rolled maybe not factions, because I think people are generally
there was people that
factions.
wanted factions.
Yeah,
But
factions
they could have rolled out a couple other games that we've thrown out, prior to that. And I don't know if it would have mattered. That reaction, that was a genuine reaction from PlayStation fans. What the hell are you showing us? And it was on everybody's face. It was clear. It was deliberate.
It's written
it
all
happened
over
around
your
the time
face.
the VR happened. I'm like, there's only a few minutes left. What?
Yeah.
There's still no factions, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was just like hoping.
When they showed Persona, that was one of, like, I see him mentioned. Yeah. They showed him and they said it said GT trailer for the for the GT trailer. That man put his his eyeballs bugged out and he just covered his face like, what is this?
The GT trailers, the GT trailer highlights from some of the people are the best
compilations. There's compilations on
yes,
YouTube.
They do.
Yeah.
The Iron Lords podcast when King was just roasting J-Dub all throughout the show. Man, that was just pure comedy right there.
Yeah, it was.
Shout out to the over 100 people watching live, man. We breaking records here, man, every single week, man. I told you it's going down here at the Shop Podcast, man. It's been a big week. Glad to see all the new faces. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, man. You guys are breaking records here, man. So this is awesome, man. Shout out to everybody watching live with us. But we got to make sure we get Fuzz in on this. Fuzz, this was crazy, bro. You've heard all of our opinions here.
Oh yeah.
You've seen everybody in chat, but I am flabbergasted that this happened. Like this is not what I thought we'd be talking about this week at all, Fuzz.
I didn't think so either, but there was a moment when Jim Ryan's articles were out there about the PSVR and the day and date stuff for PC. I was like, I'm preparing myself for an underwhelming show, and I just let it go with that because I'm like, there's no way you're gonna talk mess about the PSVR just before the showcase, knowing that either half the showcase was going to be PSVR or something along those lines. And then the whole day and date, it's like, we bringing this up again? So I guess that squashes GT7 coming to PC. But something just was off on those two articles just before the showcase. But as far as the showcase as a whole, the mechanics of it, 33 games in a little over an hour, that was pretty good. And there were some decent games in there. If it was a Summer Games Fest showcase, or if it was, maybe a state of play even, or like what Pong was saying, if these games were day and date in PS Plus Premium, it's a whole different showcase. But as a showcase of, 2 years waiting or 600 plus days from your last showcase, this was Jim Ryan's showcase. And I think a lot of us realize that Jim Ryan doesn't, I guess, have his pulse on the gaming community, or at least his particular fan base, let alone fans of gaming in general. But it was just weird to me. Like, you have Fair Game, which, okay, CGI, assume it's early in development. It's Payday meets kind of like Rogue Company. That probably stands a chance because Rogue Company did well. Payday still has its fan base, so that might survive. Starship Troopers, Helldivers 2, that game pretty decent nonetheless. That one I would say is probably one of the highlights as far as an exclusive.
That was pretty high on my list. That actually looked pretty good for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like Starship Troopers and what was that other one? Second Extinction that we had on Game Pass. Kind of like a blend of those two games, and that works. I think that's a better game for PlayStation base as opposed to the top-down one of like the original Helldivers, at least for their traditional fan base. But one of the things that was a standout, although it had some disappointing news, almost like the day after or the day before kind of news with Phantom Blade Zero. Like, I was, fingers crossed let it not be a Souls-like game.
Can someone fully explain that? So I heard I seen this talking about it in the chat in our DMs. So Phantom Blade Zero, during the show, I was looking it up to see if it was going to be exclusive, and I seen it did have a mobile game. But essentially, after the show, I guess people found out that it had two developers, and what was the other things?
No, that mobile game is their only game, that's their only game that they've made.
That's it's a prologue to this game. That mobile game is supposedly a prologue.
And
to this
that's
game.
not even. And I think the mobile game's not even complete. I think it's an incomplete. So.
And then they also officially confirmed that they don't have any exclusivity deals. It's just
are they trying to do another abandoned situation?
Well,
is that what
somebody said that? I saw that.
Yeah, you gotta wonder. You gotta wonder. So sorry, Fuzz. It's your
no. It's one of those games that has an asterisk. It's like originally I was like all pumped for it. Now it's kind of like I'll just wait and see if we get more information down the road. The same thing with the Day Before game, where that roller coaster ride, thank goodness it's somewhat over, but oh well on that one. And there were a few other games that were pretty decent standouts. Like you had Neva, which was multi-plat as well. I got some Everwild vibes from it. Different art style, obviously, but like animals and nature and fight in darkness and whatever. That's kind of what I thought Everwild was going to be when they first showed it off. So we'll see how that pans out. And that looks like something that'll probably come to Game Pass day and date as well. Cat Quest, the Caribbean thing, whatever. That
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean, yeah.
That looked like a mobile game for a console kind of thing.
It looks awesome.
Not for me. I'll just move on past that one. And at least the quote unquote insiders got something right with the Metal Gear Solid deal, but that one being multi-plat, that kind of takes some shine off of that. You had Towers of Agaspa or Agasaba or something.
That looked kind of crazy. I'm not gonna lie. That looked like some
Zelda.
Tears of the Kingdom Zelda type stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like they had two Nintendo games there.
Anybody do any research on that game, or what studio make that is behind that? Anybody know?
I'm not sure on that one.
And what they made prior to
which one?
Was it Tales of
Towers
Agasta or Towers of Agasta or Agasta, something like that?
Gaza.
That
Oh,
Zelda
that's the
looking
one.
game?
That's the one with like the seeds and the weird the
Yeah.
the
Do we know
wildlife
what
and
studio is doing that or what they
no,
made
but I can look
before?
it up.
Chat, anybody know? Let us know,
what
chat.
is it? Towers of what?
Agasta,
The
or
Towers of
Agasta?
GGASBA. Basically, you type in Zelda knockoff for PlayStation.
Right.
But yeah, Foam Stars, that was another one. Splatoon, Champagne Room Splatoon, I guess. Just that one. I think if it was going to go the route of like Dead or Alive with the costumes or something, maybe that would stand a chance on PlayStation. But I don't see that lasting very long. So that'll be another one that Square Enix closes down probably after a short period of time. Final Fantasy 16, yay! Then that didn't they already have a state of play for that?
Yeah.
So why even show it in the
That
showcase?
game's been shown so much. They've shown so much of that game. That was another thing I was disappointed as well with what what you could have shown, or the amount of room you actually had to show games. You decided to show more of that, more Street Fighter, spend a ton of time on stuff that Street Fighter has a demo on everything.
Yeah,
and people have been playing it for months now. So
yeah, what is that?
I mean, I appreciate that they had Alan Wake and Assassin's Creed in there. I'll more than likely be ordering those on my Xbox, but it was cool to at least see those. So that's kind of like the Xbox pre-show to some extent. But PSVR, the titles that they showed still hasn't sold me on the PSVR. Like for me, the only one that really had an inkling of interest in was Arizona Sunshine 2, just because I'm a fan of zombie apocalypse type games. So if I was going to get VR, that would probably be about the only one. And does anybody remember Crossfire X? Is that Crossfire, Sierra Squad?
Yes.
The same people?
Yes, Smilegate. Yes.
Yeah,
God.
Yes.
Same.
Yes.
So
Somebody else
imagine
gave
a
them a
bad
chance?
shooter in VR. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that should be interesting. Synapse, they showed that before when the PSVR came out. So that's another one that they took up space. But Marathon, I'm kind of excited for it. That was one that I kind of predicted would be there over the other Bungie title, Matter, because I figured that they're going to wait until Destiny 2 is, at the end of the road before they even start talking about that one. But seeing Marathon there, yeah, it's CGI trailer, so we didn't get to see gameplay, but I'm assuming that from the aesthetic, it's going to be colorful, rapid prototype type
aesthetic,
stuff,
bro.
or 3D printed stuff as far as your player character and weapons and whatnot.
Looks
So
good,
it
man.
looked kind of cool, but look forward to seeing more of it. But I'll probably be playing that on Xbox. Destiny 2 DLC, they had to show some DLC in there, and then first party, I guess, really didn't make that much of a showing. You had Firewalk, you had Haven, you had Bungie, and you had Insomniac. And Firewalk, I have no idea what that game is. Like, if you're going to do a CGI trailer, at least tell us something, or at least show the type of action. Like right now, that game could either be Apex Legends in space, or it could be fast food delivery in space. I have no idea. So that I feel that one was a waste. Like at that point, you might as well just show the title and who it's from, and then move on. That would have saved some time. But Spider-Man 2, I think the win was kind of taken out of the sails for me with Spider-Man 2 when they said, oh, it's not going to be co-op. And I know they made mention of that early on before, but it just seemed like it made more sense to do that as opposed to like the Grand Theft Auto 5 player character switch kind of thing. I don't know. I would have figured next-gen console, maybe some next-gen type stuff, but yeah.
So can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
And I'll start with you. So I don't want to cut you off here, but that's the Spider-Man thing. Are we just like, did we really just expect too much from Spider-Man? Like what? Because I feel like it almost, I don't know. What did the show just zap us? Was it that bad up until that point to where it took away from Spider-Man? Because I don't think anybody felt like Spider-Man did anything but show us the game that it already is. And
I don't know.
It basically, if you're a fan of Spider-Man, or if you were looking for that next, first party game, it delivered, but it didn't deliver to the extent where it's like if you don't have a PS5, this is the game you got to go out there and get the system for. It didn't sell me on that. I mean, I already have my PS5, so I'm probably wind up picking it up, but it didn't it didn't reach far enough for me because all right, you're not going to do co-op. You have the the symbiont suit powers with Peter, but you still have at least the powers for Miles Morales and stuff. But I just that clip that they showed, I already see that we're going to have to fight each other at the end. So spoiler alert, I guess. I guess Miles is going to have to fight Peter before the end to get that suit off him, type of thing. But it doesn't seem like, in comparison to when we saw Spider-Man 2018, if you didn't have a PS4, that was a game that you went and got a PS4 for. If you didn't already do it for Ghost of Tsushima or God of War, Spider-Man was definitely the one to at least pick up that PS4. But right now, maybe it's because I already have the PS5. It isn't like wowing me, but it is what it is. But
to me, it's just like maybe my expectations were you're using the same map, right? You're gonna go ahead and you already have the assets for it. So maybe I'm just thinking about it from a dev perspective. Since you have all those assets, let's push the gameplay even further. Let's push, and that's when I was like, yeah, why not add co-op? Why not add all these things? Maybe make it, if it's not co-op, switch between them seamlessly rather than it be like a campaign thing. I don't know what I was really expecting, but it does look pretty similar to like a Miles Morales expansion to me. I'm still going to play it. I'm still probably gonna love it. I love the Spider-Man and Miles Morales. It's just it could be PTK because you're like what were we expecting?
Yeah.
I think watching the show in its totality and then coming to an end with Spider-Man where we are all expecting Spider-Man, maybe that did hinge.
That's what I was thinking too. Maybe the show itself took away from how we actually received Spider-Man. Like once we saw it,
some of the shine.
I think we were so drained, and I think I was so like, I was like, what the hell are we watching? By that point, by the time we got a chance to see it, so my energy wasn't even there. Like you said, it looked great. It looked like what I expected. I don't know what I wanted Spider-Man to look like, but I know that's what it should look like. But I didn't feel like that was going, like you said, I don't feel like it's going to sell me or any new customer that already isn't a fan of Spider-Man on that game. I don't think so.
I got a theory on Spider-Man since we're here, right? And I want to get you guys' opinions on this. I got a theory. Sony looked at their roadmap and saw this giant hole in 2023, right? That they didn't have any first-party games. And they turned to their best team, the team that can churn out games. They knew they had an automatic W in that IP because it is one of the world's most popular IPs out there. And they turned to Insomniac and said, look, we know you're going to be working on Wolverine. Wolverine can be the one that sets the bar. We need a Spider-Man 2 by 2023. Can you guys get it done? And Insomniac said, well, if we don't push it too much, if we expand the city a little bit, do some things here and there, we're not going to get that co-op in there. Well, we can get that out by 2023, and that's exactly what's happened here. I'm very curious to see what Wolverine looks like. Because if we see the leap that I think some of us were kind of expecting, again, I didn't expect Spider-Man 2 to look completely different. I mean, again, the aesthetic is the aesthetic, right? They're not going to change all that. It is what it is, right? But there are just details missing from this game, like, the symbiote suit looking the way it does, that I would not have expected in a current gen only game. Like again, when you look at some of the visuals, and I know the city's been expanded far beyond what the PS4 could do, and I know that some of the traversal, obviously, the power of the SSD, some of that traversal is extremely fast, and the switching between characters at certain moments is almost instantaneous. So all of that maybe couldn't be done in PS4. So they got some of that in there, but there's just little things that are really bothering me that this still looks like a lot of the game could have been done on PS4. So I think maybe had they been given normal development cycle of maybe, how long between God of Wars? 5 years? 4 years? 5 years?
4.
So
yeah.
4.5. If they had been given the same amount of time, because you got to remember they put out Miles Morales, right? Like they cranked that out, and I know it was basically an expansion, is what it was, right?
Yeah.
It was an expansion.
Yeah, basically.
Right, but they still put a lot of work into it, because like 3-Bit said when they showed off Miles Morales, there was more of okay, I'm definitely seeing some upgrades here from the 2018 Spider-Man. So I think if they had been given that normal development cycle, maybe this might have had that polish, might have had that sheen, that extra shine, that extra little details. The water up close wouldn't look the way it does right now. Like all that stuff would have been in there, and potentially a co-op mode, which would have set this game apart and would have set the internet on fire. If they had introduced a co-op Spider-Man 2, it would have been off the charts hype for this game. So I just think that they maybe Sony didn't force. I'm not going to say that they demanded, but they asked Insomniac if they could get one out by 2023, and I think Insomniac said, "Yeah, we'll do it."
I mean that's a legitimate theory, right? Like I could definitely see that happening. I just don't know how you come to the conclusion that at the end of that meeting that you had 2 weeks ago to finalize this show, that this was going to be a hit, like that this was going to go over well.
Yeah.
Like, how do you get to the end of that meeting and be like, you know what, boys, that's a damn good meeting? Like,
I'm really wondering
like,
what those meetings look like.
That's a solid meeting, boys. Great job.
I mean, when they reviewed the whole showcase,
yeah, like great job.
They were sitting back, lighting up the cigars, popping the champagne bottles, and like, we got this in the bag. Xbox is dead.
I just listen, and then you. I mean, not to. And once again, guys, I don't want anybody, because listen, we're all Spider-Man fans. I think it's a known quantity. We do understand Insomniac's greatness. Right, like I think we give Insomniac the amount of praise that they deserve and where they're at in this industry. But like I said, I mean, it is what it is. At the end of the day, I was not overly impressed by what I saw from Spider-Man 2. The game gonna sell a bajillion copies, whether I like it or not. Right, that's gonna happen either way. But just from I don't know what I expected. But like you said, if I really have to think about it, I was you saw a bigger jump between Miles Morales in 2018 than you did between this and the last, Spider-Man that we saw. So it is a bit eerie. Now, one thing I noticed too, they didn't give a date for Spider-Man.
Nope.
Like what? So Spider-Man September, right? It's been damn near confirmed at this point. Why no date for Spider-Man? Your biggest IP
Starfield.
Easily. You think no, I don't want to. No, we're not doing that. We're not. Nope.
Get away from Starfield.
We're not. We're not doing. I'm not. I don't want to hear that. I don't think you think Jim's mailing it in. There's no way Jim's mailing it in. Like, you know what?
I just don't see any other reason not to give it. I don't know. Like I'm trying to legitimately figure out why they wouldn't give a date, especially if it's coming up this soon, or maybe they're just not super confident in the fall yet. I don't know. Why else would they not want to put it in September? If like the only other is there a couple of big games coming out in September? I know there's Starfield and then
Starfield and what's the other one that got announced too? The other
Mortal Kombat 1.
Mortal Kombat 1 is the other big one. But I mean,
those are two.
Yeah, I don't
Spider-Man.
think Sony's worried about any of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say
big,
no. Spider-Man's huge. Like that shouldn't be a concern. I mean, prior to this show, nobody would have. Matter of fact, you had a lot of the PlayStation community felt like that's an easy dub for Spider-Man. Like the other two aren't even going to matter. So it's hard to believe that that's flip-flopped in 2 weeks.
No, it hasn't. But I think kind of like what Pong was saying, there might be some validity to it in the sense that they might be barely crossing the line or the finish line come September. Like, given the time that they take the polish, given the time they have to finish everything up, this thing might be cutting it close. Like, going gold, the last week of August or something type of deal. So We'll
In the
see.
development-
So
But
you think they would risk
timeline, I
Spider-Man
suppose.
2 not being the best possible game it could be just to get it out
Well,
in
We've
2023?
we've seen Horizon come out with problems, right? We've seen GT come out with problems, right?
Well,
This
yeah, that's true. A lot of
So-
games that come out. It's not.
That's
It's
what
not.
it's not a Sony thing. We're just seeing Sony have the same type of problems that other places are having, right? It's not just one dev team. It's a lot of dev teams having issues, and Sony is being affected because we've seen them not live up to their own standards that they've set, right? And so I think it's certainly possible because, like everybody's pointed out, Umbra brought it up when he was talking about Spider-Man, that maybe by the time they get it out, maybe this was an older version, right? Maybe they do have more time to polish. Maybe there is something they can do to give it a little extra oomph. But maybe that's the state that it's currently in as well. Maybe they are scrambling to the finish line, like Fuzzy just pointed out, because again, without Spider-Man 2, this would be a same kind of year that Xbox had last year for Sony. Like zero first-party games is not okay. Even Sony's got plenty of studios. This is not okay, and I know they've done a great job. They've had lots of games launch, but that would be horrible. So I think that they might be scrambling, and maybe, just maybe, they're giving themselves an out to push it to like November if they need to. I really think so.
I got a question here. I want to throw this over to Umbra. I know we're gonna switch lanes here because I got to get to my fellas here. But Umbra, I want to ask you this question, and then we'll move on here, brother. Are you where do you think we're at on this? Are you buying the validity, the idea that they're holding back still, like that there's going to be something else coming up later? Like, how are you? I mean, obviously that's come out. There's been people saying, well, that's not what I saw. The version of what Sony show was supposed to be what I saw. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, so where you buying any of that maybe this is intentional at all?
Umbra, you're on mute.
Oh, he's on mute.
Or he's gone. He left.
Oh, he
us.
might have stepped away.
He
might
said,
step
"I don't
away."
get to dominate this
Yeah, right.
show. I'm out of here."
We're not talking about UE5. I'm out of here. This game isn't UE5. I'm out of here. What the hell is this shit on the show? Not talking- No, but I guess 3-bit, you could answer that as well too. I don't know. If you want to take that
Yeah.
3-bit.
Yeah. Do I think there's basically validity to PlayStation holding back?
Yeah.
What was the question? No, I don't think. I think they showed what they had at the time, what studios basically could give them at the time. I do think that's true. But for this year, I really just think timing is not aligning with their studios and what they want to deliver right now. So for this year and a couple months into next year, I feel like this is what they got. And this is what they have to show. And I'm kind of speaking too from Dev Direct as well. Like when we were working on the Dev Direct, there was studios just kind of popping in and seeing like, hey, we'll have some stuff for the show, and they had different builds they would send us, and we're like, okay, and they were like, oh, we actually updated some stuff. Here's a new build and stuff. So if they had it, I feel like they would have shown it at this show. This is not a state of play, and this is a PlayStation showcase. So I just think that the backlash of like, hey, they got some more stuff cooking in the oven was kind of just a response from the media that's basically like, that was a really bad show. We need to kind of
No, it was
warm the
nearly
waters
perfect.
a little bit.
It was nearly perfect.
It was nearly perfect. Like
S tier.
how many articles
tier
did we see
show.
before the show? What was that one article? Was that from Game Rant where they're basically like, PlayStation just has to show up?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that
And then their
shows
next
anything.
article was, despite missing some of the big games, it was nearly perfect.
It was nearly
Yeah.
perfect. Right after the show, 10 minutes after, with a straight face, mind you. Like they wrote
Mhm.
that.
So I just
proofread
feel like
and
they're
everything.
covering that up. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know,
unfortunately.
man. It's definitely interesting to see. I don't think anybody. It's this feels so weird because this is not the conversation I thought I'd be having today. About this show at all. Like that's the hardest thing for me is like, how did they get to that point? Like, how did they veer off so far? Like, how did they manage to get that far? You know what I mean? Like, I don't. It's
it's a fascinating subject because again, we haven't seen Sony like this, right? Whenever it's just so unlike them, but as we've talked about, at this point, it really is possible that Sony just doesn't have anything ready. That they fired all their bullets. They completely ran out of bullets and they're currently reloading. And they're in no position to actually show real gameplay from any of their upcoming games. They're not even ready to sell hopes and dreams yet. This could be a wait until next year moment for Sony.
So are you telling me all that stalling with the ABK deal, Xbox been hampered, sitting on their hands for 15 months?
Yeah.
Jim and Herman haven't got nothing done over there?
No.
Is that what you're trying to tell
They
me?
were focused on getting those money hat deals.
Hey, yeah, they got the money hat. They're money hatting left and right. We've seen that. So that's already an indicator that they are out on the hunt. They're always on the hunt, but they've been extra hunty, right? They've been out here extra trying to just lock up deals left and right. We just saw them go through a complete analysis of all their studios. We saw 4 games potentially get canceled completely, right? They are in a transition period right now, and it is possible, PTK, that is the reality going forward, that going into 2024, there might not be any indication of what next year looks like for Sony. Right. And I think that's something that the Sony fan base has to get used to until they get loaded back up again. And with them, I will go back to the point I've made plenty of times. When you are trying to support an extra system in the PSVR 2 and you have your first party teams on that, right? And then you've got your first party teams trying to make games as a service, multiplayer expansions, and you breaking apart the core talent that has gotten to you to this point with your third party narrative driven games, you're starting to spread yourself really thin. And that's going to come around because you can't put the full weight of the teams behind all of these projects. So therefore, they're going to be a little bit slower now. And again, some of these teams are doing brand new IP, like Corey over at Santa Monica, right? And we've heard the smoke from Naughty Dog doing a high fantasy type IP. They're starting from scratch. They're done with. They've unloaded all the sequels, all the remasters, all the ultimate editions that they possibly can, right? To fill a lot of gaps. They're out. Now they got to wait. And now that's why they're out here acquiring more talent to try to fill that. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy to think that, like, we're actually at this point, we're actually having to have this conversation. This is not where I thought I was going to be. So it's interesting. And then one thing, like I said before, man, is the fan base ever going to embrace this multiplayer push? Because this is the business model now. I'm sorry, it's not me, chat. Hey, look, chat. It's not me saying this, right? We got Jim in black and white. We got Herman in black and white coming. This is part of the plan now. Like, this is not something that we're just trying. This is part of the direction that we're going with PlayStation. Sony fans, tell me, any Sony fans in the chat, let me know right now. Are you guys going to be okay with this? Are you guys going to survive this transition? Like, you're still going to get, I still believe they're going to do the single player thing. They're always going to do that. That's not going anywhere. But are you going to be okay with them taking these swings? Because that's what they have to do. They got to stand in the pocket and take these swings, and you're not going to have home. More times than not, you're not going to have a hit. So, especially if you're doing a games as a service thing, that is a tough arena to try and fight in. It's crowded. There's a lot of BS in there. People are like stretched thin. People are already committed to certain games and will just not leave those games. Destiny, right? Like, people just won't leave you. Destiny can curse. They can send a letter cursing out every single Destiny player, and everybody will be back on the game the next Monday. The next update come out, everybody be right back on it. That's how strong of a community they have. So you trying to do this, are you going to be committed long-term to deal with the games that don't work and to stick around to support the games that are actually working when they don't start off fast? Right?
That's yet to be seen kind of thing, because any of the multiplayer things that they've done in the past, once those things start falling off, they cut them close or cut them quick. Like Drive Club, they cut that within 3 years. What was the other one? Something Gravity, the Gravity game. They cut that.
Gravity Rush.
Yeah, Gravity Rush. They
In
cut
the, in
that
the Dreams game too, they cut that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cut
cut
that, yep.
Dreams, cut Rigs, cut a lot of it. I'm surprised, kind of, that the Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer stuff is still active, but it's not really active because there aren't that many people playing it.
What?
They
You're
already
kidding me,
cut off
Fuzz.
the original faction servers. I don't know if I think they already cut off the Uncharted servers as well for Uncharted 4's multiplayer. So if multiplayer isn't doing it, then they save money quick as far as when they have to pay a bill for empty servers kind of thing. And even like storefronts, if storefronts aren't popping, they're quick to cut them until people get on social media and complain, and then they open them for a little bit and then they close them down the road when people still don't buy stuff from there. So Sony will be quick to cut things. When it comes to stuff like that, if it doesn't show success within a short period of time, they're like the Google of that stuff. So yeah, if the stuff doesn't pop off within, I would say 90 days, it's already on a time clock at that point. TikTok, like Destruction All Stars.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure come this time next year, that one's shut down if it's not already got a note about it. Like I know that they did some sort of update a couple of months ago. Still not many people playing that game. So yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. You're right, Fuzz.
We'll see.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it
Actually,
back
the
in.
funny thing is, with Sony making this transition, it might lure more Xbox fans to give a try as far as some of the stuff that's over there. I mean, I don't foresee them making stuff like that multi-plat. I mean, it would probably be in their better interest, possibly, but outside of the Bungie stuff, that might be the golden ticket for them. Lure a few multiplayer Xbox fans over to try, things like what was it, Fair Games or whatever and stuff like that. But we'll see.
And don't forget, Jim came out just recently this past week and said that the only thing that they're guaranteeing, and I say the only thing, it's not his words, but the thing that they are guaranteeing is at least 2 AAA games every year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. Yep. And like Mav said, does that include MLB? Because that's one. Technically, but
MLB
again,
Spider-Man 3.
Right, exactly. So if that's what he's putting out there into the ether, that means we just saw Phil in an interview say, I can finally see at least one big AAA game first party title per quarter. Right? Mm-hmm. He said at least one. Jim's out here going, well, we're going to get you at least 2. So does that mean 2024 is going to be very similar to this? It certainly well could be.
Yeah.
Maybe he's seeing the roadmap and he's not seeing things starting to get ready until 2025, 2026. Mm-hmm. So when they get that Pro, remember, there's a Pro coming, everybody.
That's true.
Yeah.
So remember those dev kits, according to Tom Henderson, coming out. Those Pro kits are going out supposedly within the month to all the dev studios. So if all the first-party teams know that they're going to be working on that as well, maybe they're planning for a big push when the Pro is live, which is supposed to be at the end of next year. So maybe we aren't going to see anything until 2025, 2026. Just saying.
That's true.
Hey.
That's true.
That would be exciting to see. I do want to say with the purchase of Bungie, where there was basically stating the reasons, like Sony was stating the reasons why they bought Bungie was to learn about how to make a first-person shooter, essentially. And it is interesting that we are starting to see the evidence of that. Because we know they're making multi-platform games, and we're starting to see like, hey, Bungie sniping some studios right now. Like, hey, maybe you should do this. Maybe you should do this. It's like, I guess that was true because we did hear a while ago, like, why did Sony purchase Bungie?
Well, we did that. I think we brought it up on this show too. Not to cut you off, 3-bit, but I think we brought it up. I think Pong, maybe even Fuzz brought it up that may be one of their functions is to kind of, just kind of hold Sony's hand and say, look, we have a game already. Look at what we have with Destiny, and we can help with the other studios that are trying to do similar things. Some of these smaller teams you're bringing on, kind of onboarding, right? In a way, right? So let's show you what a games as a service kind of looks like and how you can sustain it without dipping our hands too far into the cookie jar.
Yeah, it makes sense why they bought them for so much, because I was like, I don't think Bungie is worth that much, but okay. I was personally thinking that, but
no. My prediction is within the next couple of years they might be independent again.
You think they wrote a clause in their contract? I mean, they got out
either
of,
that or
Microsoft.
it's going to be like infighting between the studios. It'd be like, how dare you guys shoot down our project, and then who gets to shoot down your project, kind of thing. It's going to create a weird dynamic between the studios that traditionally with Sony Studios they all work together, and if you're crapping on some of their work, I don't know, they might be looked at as the outsider for a bit. And I think in some regards, some of the stuff that, like, let's say Naughty Dog's factions, the article or the rumor is that Bungie shot it down, it wasn't going to have legs or it didn't have longevity or something like that. But in the grand scheme of things, given how PlayStation multiplayer stuff lasts, they may not be necessarily the best ones to predict on longevity. I mean, it may not be or may not have legs to it because of the fan base that are currently on that platform, or it might appeal to that fan base because of the particular IP. So it's I don't know. I just see a storm of brewing in a couple of years between Bungie and the rest of PlayStation Studios.
Well, Schreier already said that there was that there was some bruised egos, that there was some not so good feelings after Bungie nixed factions too. So
I would assume so. That's like showing up to the job interview to your raise that you're supposed to get, and you walk in the office and your colleague is sitting next to the boss with his feet up, and they already got the cigar lit. You're like, what the hell is going on? Ain't this my raise?
Yeah.
What is he doing here?
It's like the rookie quarterback showing up and walking up to the Pro Bowl quarterback and saying, "You're not doing good enough." Can you imagine?
Ridiculous.
Hey, so I hear tell that I missed out on something.
You good.
Where you been?
We were talking about UE5 the whole time, bro. We literally
now we're moving on
the entire time. Now we're moving on. That sucks, bro. That sucks, man. Sorry about that, Umbra.
Yeah.
No, but no, you're good. You're good, G. No, you're good. But no, just we can obviously talk about this all day, chat. We can obviously and we really can. We can make a show about this. But there's some other things I want to get into. Hopefully, Pong goes the direction that I'm hoping that he goes. So I still want to talk about this too. But I'm turning the show over to you, Mr. Pong. So man,
what direction do you want to go, sir?
Oh man,
come on,
mother.
Where do you want to go with Mother?
Oh man,
what do you want to talk about? You want to talk about that we're a week away from launch?
Oh man,
what do you want to get into? You want to get into?
That's nice. That sounds nice. We can do that.
All right, we could do this all night too. I don't care. I have zero problem talking about Mother.
Yeah.
So was there a specific article or anything you wanted me to reference, sir? During this topic?
Just okay. I'm excited, man. The energy.
Yeah, let's talk about this. Yeah.
So one thing is I didn't. So you've been saying this. You've been a champion.
Yes.
So I'm giving you all the credit for this.
Yes.
You said this is probably going to be the highest selling game this year. You did say that out of all the games, so I'm giving you credit for that. I'm starting to feel like this is going to be something special. Now the reviews are coming out Monday, I believe. It's Monday. The official reviews are out Tuesday.
Right?
Sorry.
Yeah, because Monday is Memorial Day. So
it started. I'm starting to get this weird 95 plus Metacritic kind of feeling. People are changing their bios. People are changing their pictures. People are not giving out information, but are busting at the seams. They're telling on themselves while not trying to tell on themselves about Diablo. So that's kind of
Ains is sweating right now. Ains is sweating not be able to talk about it. We will dive into this PTK because this is a fun topic. So let's see where we want to go here. So as PTK kind of set up here, Diablo 4 is, early access is...
Sorry, announcement.
What? Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 got a release date.
It did? Oh. When? What?
September 8th.
Since when? Is this official?
Yeah.
Because because somebody threw something out there like a week ago.
Do you think it was a fake thing?
I don't know.
What was the actor that was playing...
Maybe it was fake.
No, remember the leak from the actor?
Yeah, from what's
that
his
was
face?
He said
from
September
Candyman.
8th.
from
Yeah.
Candyman. He's the one
Yeah.
who said that originally.
I'll go confirm this. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah,
Okay.
you confirm that.
Yeah,
Is,
go-
is that is that one of your dev friends sending you that 3-bit? Are you sure
I
you
know,
should be
right?
shouting
No,
that
no.
out? Oh,
I
okay.
just my timeline and I lost it.
You checked the wrong phone on that one, huh? You had the burner phone. You checked the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah,
phone.
yeah. He's like,
Oh,
oh
Wrong
shit,
phone. Yeah.
wrong Twitter.
Yeah.
All right. So we got early release next week on Thursday night in the U.S. It starts at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, I believe. Same exact time when PM and the PM is supposed to be going live. We are going to be doing a Diablo 4 live stream. We are not going to have a normal PM to PM next week because that's how big this game is. But yeah, PTK set up very well here. So the general thought process with this game has been monumental hype building because of not just the game itself, not just the betas, but because of the way Blizzard is handling this franchise, this release with Diablo 4. They have been nothing short of spectacular when it comes to transparency with the community, taking in feedback, doing dev directs, dev diaries, whatever you want to call them, dev walkthroughs, including some of their big Diablo influencers, their streamers, bringing them on board with this, inviting people out. They just had a big collection of people. They obviously sent out tons of review codes to tons of people for weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that, again, what they've done here is the textbook I would love to see every dev read when they're about to launch a title. Because if every dev did it this way, and I know it takes a lot of money, I know it takes a lot of time to do this kind of stuff, man, would we be in a good position, and we might see less broken games come out. But Diablo 4 is gaining more and more momentum, even beyond what I initially expected with this game. Twitter, I've seen more people talk about, post publicly, this is going to be my first Diablo. It's going to be my first Diablo. I can't believe how much I love the betas. This is going to be my first Diablo. That, like I've said previously, is why I started to believe that this game could potentially outsell Tears of the Kingdom. And yes, it's everywhere, right? Versus one system for
Nintendo.
Tears of the Kingdom. But let's be real. The Nintendo fan base
Yeah, they
counts
sell-
for like 3. Okay?
Yeah, they're-
so
let's be honest, yeah.
they're buying multiple copies just so
Yeah.
they can have an unwrapped version sitting there on their shelf. Okay? That's the Nintendo fan base. So it is a big battle, but I think that the way that the Diablo 4 is setting up here, and you see this worldwide marketing campaign that they're putting on PTK, this worldwide marketing campaign is phenomenal. Like, they've got that new 3D video look up in New
I
York
saw
Times
that.
Square.
Crazy.
Big
They-
billboards and
yeah,
stuff.
they got it in
They
Vegas,
painted
yeah,
the church,
all over the
right?
world.
They painted cathedrals.
Yes,
and things like
the cathedrals. Man, they're just going all out for this game. I know I'm hyped. I think everybody here on this panel is going to be playing next week. I believe everybody here has it pre-ordered. 3-bit, you pre-ordered yours, right?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So everybody but 3-bit is so excited that we all pre-ordered it. Umbra, you're pre-ordered, right? I know you are, right? No.
Oh.
All right. So the guests are no longer invited to this conversation.
Well, that was
all
unscripted.
right.
That was unscripted.
That was
Hey.
completely unscripted.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
But I.
What? What,
I'm gonna
3-bit?
buy it.
What?
I'm gonna be day one.
Okay.
It's still
Okay.
one.
Day one. Umbra, are you doing day one? Or are you one of the outsiders that don't like Diablo?
I'm going to do it day one.
Okay.
I saw that what you just wrote inside the chat too, PTK.
No, what? No.
Yeah.
No. Listen, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
That's- no,
After playing Death Stranding, I might have to agree with that
There
one.
was a bot. There's a bot going around. Don't pay attention to that, Umbra. There's a bot in here. Hey, mods, get that guy out of here, mods. Come on, man.
No,
Shut up.
I think I'm going to get it day one for sure. I played
Okay.
the beta was so fun. I enjoyed it so
Good.
much.
Good.
Yeah, I played it with 2 different characters. Absolutely going to get it day one.
Were you a Diablo 3 guy or Diablo 2 guy at all?
I
Or is
played
this
through
kinda your
both.
first time? Oh, you
I
did
played
play
through
through both.
both.
So you
Uh-huh.
have
Yeah, I was
experienced
a
Diablo
3 guy.
previously.
I was
And you were I knew you were a 3 guy, 3-bit. So all right, perfect. So everybody is going to be playing it. And most of us are going to be playing it early release, right? So there's going to be millions of people on early release. That means you pre-ordered the deluxe or the ultimate edition. I expect that their pre-order numbers have got to be I'm not going to say Cyberpunk 2077 pre-order numbers, but I'm going to say that they're probably right around the 8 million mark on this game. I would not doubt that their pre-orders are between 5 and 8 million for this game. Worldwide, obviously. Again, it's across all consoles, and some people didn't even realize that it's going to be on last gen. It's going to be on PS4 and Xbox One too. So if all things fall in line, if opening weekend during the early release and then the following week when it goes live for everybody who didn't pre-order one of those two versions, if both of those nights hit and the server slam did its job and the servers are working close to perfect, again, this is Blizzard. We've seen Overwatch problem. Every launch has been a problem. If Blizzard pulls it off with Diablo 4, you're going to be talking about zero diminish of hype. You're going to be talking about everybody rolling in, and this is going to be the game that's going to be being talked about everywhere. I truly believe that outside of the Nintendo base, who's still going to be talking about Tears of the Kingdom, everybody else is going to be talking about Diablo 4. This is one of those seminal moments that comes along in video games where we see a game that does capture the wider audience as well as us, much like we saw with Elden Ring, where it gets its life of its own, and you see your entire friends list, or 75% of it, all playing the same game. That's what type of game potentially I think this is going to be. So let's start with Umbra, since he died for a while and now has come back as zombie Umbra. Umbra, haven't heard your voice in a while, sir. Good to hear you. What do you expect leading into early launch next week? Do you believe, as I do, that this has the potential right now, just from the overall general feeling that you get from the community, from just seeing everything that's going on with this, that Blizzard's been doing? Do you think this could be the biggest seller of the year, and do you think this could get Game of the Year nods? And where do you sit at? Where do you think this is going to fall as far as this year's games go in totality? What do you think, brother?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many games. There's so many great games this year. I still have, you have Hogwarts, you have Jedi Survivor, which is currently my game of the year. You have Zelda. You have so many other games to count as game of the year. I don't know where Diablo 4 would take place in that. I think it could. I'll say this, as far as sales, I heard you and I was like, Birthday Boy is tripping. I just don't see this. I just don't see this beating out Zelda as far as sales go. It's like you pointed out a second ago. Like these guys will go and buy 3 copies, like you said, and just have 2 chilling somewhere. So I think that's part of the issue is that, we know how well these first party games sell on Nintendo. So I think that is the biggest thing. Now, to be fair to you, Xbox has it where, not Xbox, but Activision in this case has it where it's on console and PC. So it's going to do gangbusters as far as that goes too. So it's a possibility it could. And I do appreciate how they're marketing it. It's really crazy to see that. I guess it's for something that's going to be first party marketed that well. They're doing a good job with that. And that's what I would hope that Microsoft does going forward when it comes to their games. Market them heavy, just like that. Again, I don't know how I can place it as far as Game of the Year contenders. I will say that what I did enjoy and play in that beta, I think that it more than likely will lead the way for this being a contender, because they're going to have 6 ultimately at the end of the day. I could see this being one of them.
Right.
But man, yeah, I don't know. Just sales wise, I just don't know if it's going to pass up Zelda, but I would guess that it would be in the top 3 for the year. I can imagine that. I think it'll be in the top 3 sold as far as the things go.
Yeah. I was just going to say, look how fast Hogwarts sold, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hogwarts sold extremely fast. Now you're talking about Diablo, and Diablo's on another level, and it's a different type of game. This is a game that people are going to be playing for the next 10 years potentially, right? Just like Diablo 3. I think it's going to be faster out of the gates than Hogwarts. Like I said, I think their pre-order number.
It's going to be on the old systems too.
Yeah, it's going to be on the old systems too. I think their pre-order numbers are already through the roof. That's the only reason. I said it's going to be a battle. I'm not saying that they're going to walk away with this by any stretch. I just think it's going to be a battle, and I think it's got a lot of potential. But I hear what you're saying. Again, I don't blind myself to that fan base over at Nintendo.
Yeah.
I don't. I know who they are,
Mhm.
right? So, exciting to hear Umbra, obviously, is somebody who's walking into this and is probably going to buy it day one. And you do have, obviously, I know how you play games too, and
Oh, yeah.
I understand that you got a lot. And this is a time sink game. This isn't a game you pop in and then pop out and leave it sit for a month. This isn't one of those games. This is like a game that you're in constantly. So it is going to be one of those games you have to put some effort into. 3-bit, brother.
Yeah.
Listen, man, we have talked a lot about Diablo 4. You don't have it pre-ordered, but you said you're going to buy it day one. We'll see if you can get it installed in time to play with us, or if you fall asleep prior to it. Listen,
Oh damn! Let him get
Oh,
the game.
yeah, no, this
Hey,
is this is classic
right
3-bit.
there.
This
I know,
is
I know,
all
I
facts
know,
right
I
here.
know.
All right, so 3-bit, but from your standpoint, kind of watching, and obviously you have a different perspective because you're in the industry. You've kind of seen game develop. You've obviously seen game development. You've contributed to game development, but you've seen the internal way that all these different groups within the development cycle come together when you're getting ready for launch. And this marketing department, again, I don't know how you could do it any better than they've done it with Diablo 4. I really don't. But for you, when you're looking at Diablo 4 and you take a look at the general hype around it and all that kind of stuff, do you think this has the potential to be the top seller of the year? Is it going to be a battle with Tears of the Kingdom? And where do you think it falls in line with Game of the Year quality? Again, it's all projection. We don't know. We got to test the beta, which was, again,
The beta was great.
huge. Yeah, and it was huge.
Massive,
and they
dude.
gave us a lot of content, and that wasn't even all of the content, right? They were holding stuff back that we haven't even seen yet. So for you, where does this kind of line up for for 2023 being such a fantastic year for video games? Do you think it's going to fall in that category? What are your general thoughts here, brother?
Yeah, I think it definitely has the potential, and like you said, the marketing for this game is outstanding. Like I seen like billboards of it, and
Yeah.
they are definitely going all out on the marketing department, which just shows you like how confident they are in the game. And Diablo 4 is a mixture of what a lot of fans wanted for this game. They wanted, a darker experience. Like for a lot of people, the complaints for Diablo 3 was that the style is a little bit more stylized than people would have liked, and some of the complaints there. But from what I played out of the beta, I think it has the potential to sell very well. For Hogwarts, Hogwarts sold really well, and it was only on the next gen consoles, and this will be available on the Xbox One and also the PS4.
Yes.
And of course, you have that PC base that's gonna eat this game up like crazy. So
yes.
yeah, I think it's gonna sell very well, especially on the PC. And it's getting harder for me to say what's going to be a Game of the Year candidate. I feel like this is definitely going to be up there, but dang, there's a lot of good games coming out this year, so it's going to be more interesting to see what gets omitted than what's actually up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this game.
Absolutely. Great thoughts there. And again, this game just has so much going for it. Like there's so many things that seemingly are coming together. Again, the one thing that a lot of Diablo was missing, especially 3, was that story that pulled you in, right? And with Diablo 4 and how they put an emphasis on the story, and they've put along with that story some of the best cinematics I've seen in a long time to draw people in, and you already see people picking sides. And PTK, we've got two different kind of really obviously polar opposite characters leading the way, right? You've got Anarius on the good side, right? The angels.
Yep.
And then you've got Lilith. And both of these, now Lilith, I will say so far, Mother is definitely more popular, but you see people being drawn to one or the other. And they are just the main characters in the story. This isn't about the gameplay. This isn't about, anything that we do when the controller's in our hands per se. This is about two characters representing this game. And they seem to be drawing more attention than I've seen to a game in a long time when it comes to that story factor. And I think that's the secret ingredient that might push this over the top. So PTK, you've been watching this for a while.
Oh yeah.
You are a newer found, I should
Yeah.
say, action RPG looter, Diablo-esque type player. You found love through Torchlight. Again, great series, by the way. Torchlight is
Yeah,
just
shout out
fantastic.
Torchlight. Yeah.
Shout out Torchlight. They got you addicted to this, okay?
Yes,
And now you're full in. You are all in, brother. And you were rocking out on this beta, put massive hours into the beta, having a grand time, jumping into Diablo 4. So now, generally speaking, though, kind of listening to the community, everything that you talked about when you kind of opened up this topic, where are you sitting at now? Because you said, I had said it early on. I said it, a
Yeah.
couple months ago, I think, when we talked about it originally. Has that truly swayed you? Are you now in the camp that this could compete and actually hit, game of the year quality and be the talk of the town, be that Elden Ring that pops up? It's not going to be necessarily like Elden Ring, because Elden Ring was a new IP, whereas this is an established IP. But since Diablo 3 was kind of down, sure, it came back and it has massive amounts of players, but it's not talked about like the Diablo 2
Yeah.
is. It's not talked about with reverence like the original Diablo and Diablo 2 are. Do you think Diablo 4 is now going to set that new standard going forward? What do you think, brother?
So I feel more sure about that now than I think that I've ever been. I know we're so close to the game actually coming out, but there's this palpable energy, and I think you need that. When you're talking about Elden Ring, you talk about Hogwarts, there's something special about those games, and you feel it, right? Like, I know the community is not everybody, so I want to make sure I'm being clear on this. Our community, our community, but there's still a palpable energy, and there's like this baseline of excitement that you feel from everybody. It doesn't matter what console, doesn't matter what device they're playing it on. And I'm feeling that from Diablo. I'm getting that feeling every time I see posts about, people seeing, their billboards, people seeing all the advertisements that they're doing, people now starting to talk a little bit about they've been playing the game for a week or two now, and they can't wait to talk about it. I wasn't all the way in on that. I wasn't 100% sold when you first said this was going to be the highest selling game this year, Paul. I'm going to be honest with you, because I think I picked something else. I'm pretty sure I did. Well, and I think it was a poll of the week. But
was it Zelda or?
It might have been Zelda. I can't remember exactly. I think it was a poll of the week, like maybe a few weeks ago, and we talked about this a little bit. But I'm like 60-40 right now. Like, I feel really good about it. I feel really good about it doing crazy number. And another thing too that you can't underestimate, this game is perfect for a platform like Twitch. People are going to love stream. People are going to stream the crap out of this game. That's one other indicator that you can look at now in this day and age of gaming and see it'll directly correspond to like sales and how popular the game actually is. Some people kind of write it off because it can be a bit dodgy, but generally when a massive game like a Cyberpunk or Elden Ring comes out, they do massive numbers on these streaming services, especially Twitch. And I can see Diablo setting all kind of crazy streaming records the first 24 hours that it's out. Like, I can see it going, I don't even know, maybe over 1 million people. I know at one point Hogwarts got over 1 million people, I believe, streaming on Twitch. I can see that happening with Diablo 4 as well too. It is that massive of a game. I think it has that big of an appeal. I think the game will be that, from a like technical standpoint, I think the rollout's going to be great. I think they had a phenomenal rollout, one of the better betas that we've had. There were some issues day one, but I think they've ironed everything out, and each rollout since then have gotten progressively better. This last one that we got, no issues for anybody. Essentially, I don't think anybody had any issues. If they did, they were extremely isolated. It was maybe a few.
Blizzard said that they actually did find some things behind the scenes that people wouldn't have noticed, that would eventually caused problems that they actually caught through the server slam. So they were super excited about that. They said you guys all had basically 0 queues. It was really great, but we did find some more stuff behind the scenes that we are fixing for launch.
I love that.
So,
I love that. Shout out to
that.
I love that.
Dope.
Bro, they've been amazing. So shout out to, Rod Ferguson, Mikey Barr, everybody over there, the entire team at Blizzard. I know, so just shout out to them because they've been phenomenal. They've been extremely transparent with the updates through the entire process. When there was a few issues when that first beta dropped, they had issues that first 24 hours. They ironed everything out. They kept communication clear. They've taken everybody, taking everybody's input. Shout out to sorry Necros, you guys might get short end of the stick, but oh well. I know I'm not making any friends, right? That's not how you make friends in Diablo.
Yeah,
you
no,
don't
no.
really.
Did they still nerf the Necro, or did they?
They said they were going to make adjustments again.
Yeah, they're going to
And
adjust it. Quote
and
unquote.
Umbra, that's Rod Ferguson's main, so
Yeah,
you know it's going to
so
get fixed.
He's not having that. He's been playing Druid. He said he's been rocking the Druid until they figure out this Necro thing. So he ain't having that.
What class are you guys starting with? I'm going with Rogue to start.
I'm
So
going
am I.
Druid.
Sorcerer.
I'm going Druid to start with.
Nice.
So.
Fuzzy's going Sorcerer, 3-bit. Do you even know?
Necro?
You go Necro?
Necro?
Okay.
I think it was called.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I use in the beta. It felt very overpowered.
Yeah, you
Look
didn't
at
play
that.
the server slam, did you?
Yeah, you played the server slam.
No,
They-
I
they-
didn't.
Yeah, the
Yeah, that was
server
an
slam.
update.
They chopped that dude. They chopped the knees off. They chopped the arms off. It was over with. Everybody was so pissed because Necro was worthless.
Oh,
Yeah.
dang. No,
They're
they're
gonna
gonna bring it
readjust
back.
it though. They're gonna readjust it.
Yeah. Yeah,
So you'll be all right, but you can deal with it for a little while. Damn it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, I could.
Let some of
One
these.
thing.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, in terms of how they handled the beta to the server slam,
Yes.
is a lot of companies can take notes.
Yes.
Like when I worked at UV and they did the Rainbow Six extraction, and yeah,
Yeah.
let's just say they could definitely take notes.
Yeah.
From others who use it.
And that's another thing I know. Before I finish up here, I know we got to get to Fuzz and everybody. So, but yeah, that's another thing. Once again, that's been a highlight for me. That's another reason why I'm so sure now, Pong. If you would ask me a couple weeks ago than I was then, because the rollout's been amazing. Like you said, the commitment to the idea, they've gone back to the roots. They seemingly have nailed the balance between the dark, gritty, dungeon filled, almost horror like Diablo and the fun, open world, loot, OCD, like game loop that players like nowadays.
Correct.
They've been able to balance the two. And we'll see. Obviously, there's some fine tuning. There always is with these games, and there's always going to be along the
It'll
way.
be
but-
ongoing. Yeah.
Oh, it'll be ongoing. Yeah, like you said, we'll be playing this game 7, 8, 9 years from now, possibly with multiple different updates along the way and things like that. So who knows how large this game actually gets? But yeah, I do think it's going to be a game of the year. I know they only got 6 nominations. There's going to be at least 2-3 games completely left out in the cold that would have won any other year besides this one. So
Correct.
I don't think Diablo will be one of those games that get left out. I think universally it's going to be praised. I don't usually do the Metacritic thing. I do predict this is probably going to be 93, 94.
Yep.
I'd say Metacritic on average when we start seeing these reviews on Monday or Tuesday.
Yep, I think it's going to be in the 90s too. I do agree with you. And the one advantage that Diablo 4 has over the other games that we talked about, which is Hogwarts, Elden Ring. Well, Elden Ring had a little bit, but and Tears of the Kingdom is the co-op aspect, right? That friends list when it fills up and knowing that you can hop into a party of 4 and just go slay nonstop, like that is another huge factor for this game. Tears of the Kingdom, Hogwarts, you're on your own. It's still fun because everybody's on your list is playing it and you're talking to your buddies about it and all that kind of stuff. That's always a big draw. We see that with Bethesda titles, but we know that co-op multiplayer, and this one's even got PvP to it as well, that those can draw in even a bigger audience. That's why your Call of Duties, your Apex Legends are always the highest sellers each year because of those aspects, and Diablo 4's got it. And I think that could push it over the top as well.
Just to highlight and put the cherry on top, I think it'll have the best end game it'll have a better end game than a lot of these other games that are going to get nominated for Game of the Year. Like because of that, like you said, because of the story, the characters, I think it's gonna be about as good as it gets from a game releasing with the full story, with the full multiplayer. It's gonna be about as good as you can get this year. I know we just talked about 343 and Halo putting out complete games, but this is about as good as it gets from a story standpoint and like multiplayer and that kind of stuff.
Yep, and again, it's going to be updating nonstop. The seasons start 30 days after launch. All that kind of stuff. Leaderboards are going to come later as well. There's going to be so much to draw this back in, to draw people continuously to play this game. And another little tidbit I'll throw out there is I watched another interview this week with the team, and they actually answered questions from the chat, and they had a list of questions, and they did confirm that when they do their big expansions, not the seasons, but the big expansions, when those expansions start dropping, they are going to be adding new skills to the classes. So you're going to get a whole new type of build when they start dropping the big, and those are probably going to be like one per year where they drop a big expansion. But man, that's going to add to the replayability. Fuzzy, it has been fun listening to you, brother. Talk about Diablo 4. Especially when you started playing the beta. I think you've said once or twice that this might replace your division addiction that with the loot system and the Paragon system.
Yeah.
And how they are building the stat functionality and how it's all going to interact and looking for that meta build and all that. That is you, brother. You get to create new spreadsheets for Diablo 4. so it's been really fun listening to you grow excited for Diablo 4 and have such a great time. We did get to play together during the first beta too. So, now we're sitting here, we're a week from early launch. I know you had some issues with the Xbox store this week. So those aside, sir, I don't know if you threw your Series X out the window yet and said the hell with Xbox. Okay. All right. So, those aside, because that was specifically related to your pre-order. So I want to let everybody know that, but no, as we build up here and we're getting ready for the early launch and stuff, where are you sitting at overall with this game and what they've done to get you drawn in personally, but also the wider audience that we're talking about here? Do you think this could be up for those sales records this year? And do you think Game of the Year's, within grasp and just how you feeling about the game as we are less than a week away at this point?
Well, Microsoft Store aside, because
Yes.
fingers crossed, the way things are right now, I'm still going to have the early access on the premium or ultimate edition or whatever.
Yep.
So as long as that preload takes and is workable at least until June 6th, because I think that's where the whole glitch or bug with the store is right now for me, everything should be fine.
Okay.
And that's probably why I was so pissed off with the matter, because I'm so excited for the game, and it's like I really want to make sure as soon as the gates open, I'm in there, already grinding, trying to get to whatever 50 or so before I can do the first, I guess, Paragon stuff or move into the second world tier or third world tier and stuff. But I think as far as marketing is concerned, and like they're talking about making a custom Barbie. I mean, they have other brands, on the train as well, the hype train for this game. So it's fun to watch. It's probably, aside from Forza Motorsport and Starfield, it's probably going to be the biggest game for me this year. Right. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I enjoyed Hogwarts. I think this will give a lot of these games a run for the money as far as sales numbers are concerned, because you have to look at the PC crowd. This being primarily from PC origins to some extent.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I think that side alone is probably good for 5 million pre-orders, if not more.
Right.
And then we'll probably see about another 3 or 4 from consoles as far as the initial launch. And then I think by year's end, this is one of those that's either close or just at 20 mil. Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to beat it out, but like I said, it's going to give it a run for its money. Hogwarts is already up there. I think Hogwarts might be up to 18 million now.
It's up there. It's getting there.
It's up there. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So and with it being on last gen as well, that helped it. So Diablo is going to be that game that's going to occupy a lot of people's time until September. What is that? September 9th or September 6th or something. So,
yes, sir.
Yep. So I think at least from that standpoint, this game is going to have legs well beyond what most of those other games that we mentioned, aside from obviously Starfield.
Right.
It'll have legs long after a lot of these games have already gone to a sequel kind of thing. And I think that's probably the biggest factor, is that a lot of people are sink time into it. A lot of people are going to go through the builds and customizations and the meta builds and doing build videos and checking out different combos and trying to figure out which clan to join and what's going to be your first go-to group. All right, who's your squad?
Speed
and who's
runners,
your-
people
your
trying to
B
do speed
squad.
runs.
Yep,
Yeah,
and you have
it's
to have
speed-
your PvP builds versus your
Yeah.
PvE builds, all that stuff. Yep.
So this game is going to take over a lot of gamers' time, and I think it's one of those things that, with this eventually being first party, it's going to probably be beneficial as far as some
Might
of
have
those
two
Game Pass.
Xbox TYs up in
Yep.
there.
Might.
Hey.
So it's going to be one of those things where Game Pass perks will probably come in handy every now and then for some cosmetics and random things like that. But yeah, I'm excited for this game. I wish it was already available and ready to play, but yeah, less than a week. I can stick it out a bit. So, but yeah, this game is going to definitely hit big time. Now, will it be game of the year? It'll get nominated. I don't think it's going to win. I think, unfortunately, Zelda has got that fan base in the judges' corner type of thing where I won't say they're the shoe in, but
Bong's like, Starfield ain't out yet. What you talking about?
They aren't
Starfield
out.
yet.
They aren't out yet because obviously, once again, Todd Howard and that team has beat out Zelda twice before, so
right.
it's
That is
certainly
true.
possible.
I told people
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Yep.
I hope so.
people
I
that.
hope so.
Yeah. But I'll end it with this, and I know we got to move on because we got to get Fuzzy's topic, and we're running a little late tonight because we had lots to talk about here. But I'm just going to end it this way. Once again, I will say this. This is another, just like we're going to see with Starfield. People forget how big this IP is. People forget what this means to the gaming industry. And it's not, the core base now is much bigger than it ever used to be back in the 360 when we last got a Diablo game. And that Diablo game, when it launched, did not launch as it should have. And it has come back due to Blizzard continuously updating, repairing, fixing, all of that stuff, turning that game into a different game than it originally was. And that's a credit to them. That's a testament to that team not giving up on it and realizing the power of this IP. And that's all led to this moment right here. And there's going to be a lot of people, just like on September 6th when Starfield launches, that all of a sudden get a rude awakening to just how big some of these IPs are that we don't see very often, that we don't get for 10, 12 years. In Bethesda's case, it's going to be a brand new IP, but it's still from that A team that we don't get games from very often. And people are going to wind up seeing what this kind of brand power has from experienced development studios, from people who know what they are doing, who run tight ships, who have this down to a masterclass system when it comes to building these games. They stumbled with Diablo 3, but they didn't double down on it. What they did was went back to the drawing board, listened to the fan base, and said, guess what? We're going to give you guys exactly what you wanted. We know we're not going to make everybody happy. You can't with this type of game, with this type of fan base. But we're going to give it our best shot. And here it is. And on top of that, we are going to be extremely transparent. We are going to be out here with the fans. We are going to be leading you up to launch with the great betas, with taking feedback, with explaining exactly what we're doing step by step. And that's all going to lead to next week when that early launch goes. This will probably be one of the biggest early launches we've seen outside of like a COD early release or whatever the case may be. This is going to be massive. Massive. And I think that right out the gate, that first weekend, we're going to start hearing some numbers that are pretty crazy about how many people pre-ordered a deluxe or an ultimate edition. And then coming up to that regular launch the following week, man, oh man, buckle up. I think we're in for something special this year when it comes to Diablo 4. And I think it's going to set things on fire. We'll see how it all plays out by the end of the year. But I think this is going to be right up there.
Can I ask for the Necro, because I like my OP-ness. What did they change? What did they change?
They changed so the skellies weren't like infinite. Like you couldn't have.
Okay, that makes sense.
They had the skellies dying, and you had to re-summon them, and you had to have bodies around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
So
my Skellies like never died.
Correct.
Exactly.
So that was one of the main nerfs they did that everybody got upset, because if you got people exploding bodies, well, guess what? You ain't got no bodies to bring skellies back. So
Gotcha.
that part annoyed people to no end. And they thought it was kind of just a worthless mechanic, having to spam the Skelly button over and over again to bring him back. They just didn't think it was fun.
Okay.
And they're
Yeah,
gonna-
I
they're
mean,
gonna
he felt
fine-tune
pretty
it, though.
OP. So
They're gonna fine tune it though. Hopefully they'll find a balance. So and they'll work on that. So Rod's already come, like you said, that's his favorite class. So he's definitely he's that's at the top of the list.
And Decado and AGH both added in another part of the problem with the Skellies was that the shared corpses caused the issue as well. So if you're running multiple Necros, you guys were fighting over bodies, and then AGH added that they nerfed the corpse explosion damage too. That was another thing people were complaining about.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Well,
Appreciate that.
No problem, man. Well, it's looking like, once again, shaping up to be a possible game of the year. But let's go ahead and roll this over. We're going to go a little bit longer than we normally do, man. It's a special show. It's Pong's birthday. We lit, man. We broke another record as far as the amount of over 120 plus people were here today. You guys are freaking amazing, man. Always showing us love and support. So subscribe, all that good stuff, man. If you're new here, if you're not, thank you for hanging out with us. But let's get into your topic, Fuzz. Where we going this week, brother?
Well, I'm going to try to keep it short since we're running a little bit overtime. And I know everybody's pretty much getting excited for the next showcase coming up in 2 weeks, I believe it is. So I'll just ask the basic question of each of you guys, starting off with Umbra. What do you feel, or not? What do you feel? But name 3 things you want to see at the Xbox showcase and 3 things you don't want to see at the Xbox showcase.
I'll start with what I don't. I do not want to see them show anything that has anything TV related. Don't show us anything about from Halo Master Cheeks. Don't you dare show it. And I love Halo. Don't do it.
How about Fallout? How about Fallout, Umbra? Can they show the Fallout TV?
That's a whole. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. But you know what? I don't even want them to do that. I think the stink of TV would haunt them too much if they did. Mm-hmm. So I would just want them to stay away from anything TV related at this showcase. Yeah. Show it at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest. How about that? Since he has this kind of multimedia thing going there, do it there. I don't want to hear excuses about, we had too much to show, so we held some things back. I don't want to hear that ever again from them. Especially this year, particularly this year. I think that they have to go all out and just put everything out on the line. They got one of the biggest alley-oops they've ever gotten right now. And this right here could turn the tide for them tremendously if they deliver the way we hope that they'll deliver. I said before, I thought the Xbox showcase would be better. I think it's impossible for them not to be now after we've seen everything. Because literally all they'd have to do is maybe show 3 first-party games or something that look really good. That's it, and it's set, on top of course Starfield. So that's 4 right there. Yeah, we know they're going to show at least 6, 8, maybe more than that. Yeah, and I would imagine, of course, with third-party deals. Third thing, as far as what I don't want, I don't want to see any copy of Sony where they show a bunch of gas titles. How about that? I'll just keep it to that. As far as what I do want to see, number 1 on the list, Fable. 3-Bit has informed me all the information behind the scenes. I can't tell you all anything.
Man, just blew your whole cover. 3-Bit down.
Did he tell you that he's the reason why it's not coming out for a long time? Did he tell you that?
Wow,
did he tell you he screwed up things so bad? He screwed up things so bad that they were thinking about changing engines. I
spilled coffee on the servers.
Wow. Breaking news. IGN need to go ahead and pick this up because this is terrible.
That was my bad.
No, but seriously, Fable, if they show, I want to see Fable gameplay. I think it's well past that point. We should be seeing Fable gameplay at this point. Show me Fable. Show me Avowed gameplay. And let me see what else one I can kind of guess. That makes sense. I mean, we're going to see Hellblade too, so that's not something I want to guess. Show me Tanaka or better yet, I would say Compulsion or Inexcel game. Those, and I'll be set. If as far as first party, if they can do those 3 things, I think everything else they're going to show is going to be pretty solid. But give me those 3. Fable being number 1. Fable and Avowed, I think, have to be seen now. I think it's well past that point, personally. Nice. So and it's going to be a great show. I can't wait, man.
Awesome. 3-bit, what are your 3 things that you would like to see and 3 things you don't want to see at the showcase?
Hmm. Um, hmm. I want to see them show updates on games that were announced back in 2021.
Mhm.
A lot of the games that was basically at that show.
Mhm.
I would like to see them bring it up here. I want them to have some mic drop announcements that was not like stuff that was basically not at the PS showcase. Like we were expecting some like surprise that we weren't kind of expecting, and I also just want good pacing throughout the whole show. Basically, just keep hitting some bangers and uh, have good pacing throughout the show. And in terms of like what I don't want, that's a little bit harder. I don't want too much focus on third party. I don't want too much focus on things like a controller taking up like too much of the show. Like it'll be like 5 minutes showing controllers or I don't know. I just don't want that. Um, and I don't want too much focus on things we've seen, like maybe like a Sea of Thieves
Mhm.
DLC
Oh,
or something. Like I
good
don't know. I
point.
don't want too much focus on that
Good
either.
point. Don't want to
Yeah.
see that either. That's a fair one. I hate when they do that.
Yeah. And I completely trust that team. Like I was privileged to work with that team on the Dev Direct, and
Mhm.
they understand a lot of conversations within our community, which I
Mhm.
really appreciate. So same teams working on from the Dev Direct are working on this showcase. So props to them. They're gonna kill it, I think. But I also don't want to think that like the show comes out and it is like trash. I don't know, but I think they're gonna kill it. And
Nice.
the things that I want, I really want to see those games that from 2021. That's essentially what I want to see. A lot of games was announced in 2021,
Mhm.
and a lot of it has been hidden. Um, so some updates on that. Fable is gorgeous, so I want them to display that to the public. So yeah.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. Got a good feeling in some of those games that they haven't shown in a while will probably melt some faces. So we'll hopefully those come true. All right, I'll go to the birthday boy next. Tom, what do you want to? What are 3 things you want to see at the showcase, and 3 things you don't want to see at the showcase?
Okay, so 3 things I want to see at the showcase. I want to see them come out and say, you know what, we actually don't have a showcase. You're getting 2 hours of Starfield. No,
That would be pretty great. That's my most anticipated game. I can't wait for Starfield.
No, and listen, real quick too. If Starfield shows great, to Umber's point, if Starfield alone shows great, I'm saying it right now. If it comes out, they got the 60 frames, everything's looking good. It's what we all think it's going to be. That automatically mops the floor with Sony Showcase by
Absolutely.
itself. Like by itself, it's
Absolutely.
over with. Anyways. 3 things I want from the showcase. Listen, I want to see Zenom. I'm going to try to be different here because we obviously could overlap here. I want to see
Mhm.
everything. I want to see everything, right? You know me, all. I want to see the roadmap till 2028. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to know your new hardware. I want to know everything. So I'll start here. I want to see ZeniMax Online's game that they've been working on for 4 years. I want to know what this is. And if there's been smoke, it could be a Marvel IP. There's been smoke, it could be a Star Wars IP. There's been smoke that it could be just a brand new IP that they're coming out with. I know some people are saying Starfield MMO. I think that's their secondary project right now. I think that'll be ready in the next 2 to 3 years to go. But I want to see what they've been doing because I'm excited to know because that team has done wonders with ESO. And I think that whatever they're going to do, I'm going to be excited for. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm definitely interested in that. So I want to see ZeniMax Online's game. I also I would love to see whatever id has been working on.
Mhm.
That team, the fact that we have zero, anything, not a tidbit, not even a tease, Nobody out here saying, "Oh, I heard id's working on some new IP." Nothing. That to me gets me excited. Like, if it is the Quake reboot we've been hearing about, tease it to me. Give me, by this point, you got to have a vertical slice, but if you don't, that's fine. Just show the damn title screen, get everybody pumped again. Again, I don't even know at this age if I can play Quake anymore because it's such a quick twitch shooter, but I want to see what id's genius is doing with the Series X without having to worry about anything else and just getting that power of the Series X in their id tech. I want to see it. I want to know what they're doing. So I'd love to see that there as well. And then finally, I want to see a big third-party game for the second half of the year on stage, Game Pass, day and date. I want to know Microsoft, after all this ABK nonsense, after finding out or exposing what Sony's been doing all these years, even if they don't want to do it all the time, I want to see them show that they're going for the jugular and that they're going to cut deals and they're going to cut more deals. And I think we're missing something in the second half of this year for Game Pass. I want to see one big one. If that winds up being my guess, my speculation that Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon is up on stage and that's Game Pass day and date, I will be a happy camper. But I want to see at least one of those big boys for the second half of the year. So that's my three wishes. My three don'ts. All right, first of all, I'm going to apologize to entire fan bases of multiple games right here. This is no offense to any of your games whatsoever. Okay, there's no offense because I actually enjoy some of these games. But I do not want to see Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76, or Grounded updates. Okay, please. We've had those like every year for the past 3 shows. I don't want them anymore. Please don't put those in the middle. Please don't put them at the end. Please don't put them in the beginning. If you want to show those, save it for the second day during the week when you guys have your little. Just do it there. All right. Again, I like some of those games. Just I don't want to see.
I'm gonna tell the team to fill the show with those games specifically.
Yeah, no, please don't. It's too late. I know you don't have that kind of pull. You can't change the show.
No, I
don't.
don't.
I know. Listen, that's one. Number two, I got to steal Umbrus here. No transmedia stuff here. This is not the spot for it. I know you could probably get away with it if your showcase is filled with lots of goodness. You could probably slip something in there. None of it. I don't want to see the Gears anime as much as I'm excited for that. I want to see the Fallout TV series. I don't want to see anything to do with Halo Season 2. None of that stuff there. Again, we saw the reaction with one trailer in the Sony showcase. I don't even care if Sony had a bucket load of first-party games that everybody was so excited about. It's a game showcase. Do not bring the transmedia here. Again, save it for your secondary showcase or maybe a dev direct that spotlights your transmedia. Do that. That's fine with me. Just not here at the showcase. And number three, no 12-month dates. No, hey, all these games, this next set of games is going to be out within the next 18 months. I don't want any of that nonsense anymore. I don't want you to give me dates until you're ready, until you know you can hit them. I don't want guesses. I don't want maybe windows. I don't want, well, we are hoping. I don't want any of that stuff in the showcase. I want you to show me games as they stand without dates if necessary because they're too far out. That's fine. Just don't put that time limit on it. So those are my three.
Nice.
It's a good three. I kind of want to steal something.
Yeah,
That's
I
fine.
was gonna say, yeah.
I think the TV stuff, I think we can all agree that just can't happen.
That's gonna be on my list anyway. You might get that out the way.
I like the snap though. That snap feature was pretty.
Oh, the snap feature
I
was
did
awesome.
miss
I wish
that.
they brought it back.
I wish that
It was awesome.
I also
Everything
want to say
else,
too, I think the controller thing, 3-bit, you mentioned that. What would you all feel though if they brought they introduced the volume 3 of
the
the
Elite?
the Elite? What would you
No.
feel about that?
No.
Nope.
I know they have Starfield controllers and stuff coming up.
That's true. That's true.
On a normal year, Umbra, maybe, but here with how much they've got to show us right now after the last year and a half they've had, no, anything but games. I don't want anything but games here. That's it.
I think the only thing that might fly would be like the family pass thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I've said that from the beginning that
Maybe.
would be a good spot here, but I still,
Yeah.
I just wouldn't. I would have moved it by now and said, nope, we're not going to do it.
We'll see.
All right. So
do you guys want
PTK.
presenters or no?
No,
No,
No
no,
presenters. No Sarah
Yeah,
Bonds.
hell no.
no. Don't need as much as I love Sarah, and it's great to see her on screen. No, we don't need any of that. Just let the game speak.
She can stay to the side after she does her little spiel at the beginning of her jean dress
Yeah.
and dip off.
Yep,
Okay.
like Vanna White,
Yeah.
just off to the side.
So PTK, what are your three things you would like to see, and the three things you don't want to see at the showcase?
So I'll do the ones I don't want to see. Let's go ahead and just get the movie thing out of the way, the TV stuff,
Yep.
transmedia stuff. Like you said last year, you know that you didn't deliver up to a certain point regarding the 12-month thing. So we don't want to see the TV stuff. There's no place here. You got plenty of time. You can do that on Twitter. There's other venues that do that at. So none of that. The presenter thing, I'm glad you mentioned that. You brought that out ahead of time, 3-bit, but that's another thing. We don't want too many presenters. I think they've tightened that up quite a bit between the developer direct
Yes.
and even the last couple E3s have been pretty good regarding develop. They don't have a bunch of filler people talking. They've been pretty good about that. So I trust them. Say if they can continue that trend of just we don't need
That was
26.
actually a note we got for the Dev Direct was
Yeah.
yeah.
We don't need 26 YouTube influencers. To, we don't need to know if this is their favorite game and what they did and all. We don't need to know all of that. So we'll keep that out of it. I know
Exception
you-
if Ed Boon's up there to announce Killer Instinct, I'll allow it. Okay, I will allow it.
Yeah, we mess with Ed. Well, we can let Ed has a hall pass. He gets on stage anytime. But but yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Outside of that, I'm not too much tripping on the third party stuff. What third party stuff is that we're gonna see, right? Is it worth a lot of the time that it's gonna take to show it? So I think that matters. I don't mind the third party stuff too much. So I'd probably say those two for sure. Outside of that, I don't really have a third one. No, those would really be the two big ones for me. That would just please don't like two big no's for me. And so to kind of turn the page here, three things I do want to see. Avowed is probably the top of my list. I need a date. I mean, not necessarily need a date, maybe a window at least, right? If it's not going to be this year, especially if Hellblade hits like we think it's going to hit. Avowed, I want to see some gameplay. It's about time. Like you said, I think 3-bit mentioned it earlier. There's a batch of games from a few years ago, 2020, 2021, maybe even 19, that we just haven't gotten the information on.
Yeah.
So I want to see Compulsion's game. It's been way too long. I know they've ramped up. They've built the studio up. They've gone out. Brand new office, I believe. They even put them in a brand new office. They got a whole new office, everything brand new. They've ramped up. I think they're almost 150 plus devs at this point. They're pretty big now. It's a pretty big studio. So I need to see what they're making because I'm super curious. Ever since we kind of heard the little tidbits a few years ago, I've been chomping at the bits because we don't really have a game like that. And I want to see what that looks like. I think the third one for me, and I don't think anybody mentioned it, I really want to see what NXile's doing. That game that they're making, that steampunk third, was it action RPG, but it's like first person, I believe. Whatever that is, doesn't it take place in the Pillars universe? Isn't it in that same universe?
No, you're thinking of, that's Avowed. Avowed.
Yes,
Oh, that's what I'm
Avowed.
thinking. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
wrong one. Sorry, wrong one.
Avowed,
So, but yeah, so either way, I want to see what NXile's doing as well.
Yep.
There's a couple other ones, but I think those would be the top three for me. I mean, the State of Decay 3, I don't know how far out that is. I'd love to get an update on that. To see how far along they are, because we've always speculated that game could be so much more than it actually is, and they've done a great job. Like shout out to Undead Labs, they've supported the hell out of that game. It still gets regular updates. Matter of fact, it got a new update, or there's one coming pretty soon. That's a pretty major update. So they've done a good job at making that game as good as it is. But we've always said so much untapped potential there, and a lot of it was because they were really small. State of Decay was a new idea. They were just building it up, and it take time. So it's been a few years. I want to see that. Another thing I'm hoping for too, maybe we find out what Contraband is.
Yeah.
I'd like to see what that is, right? I don't know if we could, the funny thing is I mentioned Contraband, but I also was going to mention Indiana Jones. But if those two games kind of similar, do you want two of the same kind of games at the show?
No,
I mean,
one,
Indy
I guess
is
you could be
Indy.
on foot, and I think the other one will be in the vehicle. So you could have one for car fan or driver fans and or racing fans, and then the other one would be more of like your action adventure, first person or
Yeah.
possibly third person.
I think
Yeah.
both will be action
And then
adventure, but I
I
think
guess my
that
last one will be, and this is way more than 3 you asked me. Would be, I know Pong mentioned third party. I'd love to see what type of partnerships that they've made, like what deals that they've gone out, what other games, new IPs that they've attached themselves to, whether it be marketing, whether it be full blown exclusive. Have they gone out to some of these new territories, Korea, Japan, India? Have they made some of those deals that we thought that they should go out and make?
Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh, here we go. See?
Oh, Jesus.
Right. So no, but yeah, like I'd like to see that too, because that's going to be big. Like you said, Game Pass, you got to feed the beast, right? So you need stuff like that. I'm curious to see what that is. It Silk Song? Is it Black Myth Wukong? Did you get that in Game Pass? Like, what is it? So maybe we get that at the show.
Awesome. Well, I'll keep it quick as far as my 3 do's and don'ts. I mean, as far as the don'ts, I don't want to see DLC for existing games. Like I understand that's part of gaming and everything like that, but
Not even
if at
Horizon?
all possible, like the Sea of Thieves stuff and all that, hold off on the DLC stuff for at least the main showcase. Do that on the one that's like 2 days later, or like for director. I keep on trying to say developer direct. Save it for one of those. I understand that we are going to get a controller possibly for Starfield, but outside of that, I don't want to see any more hardware. Save the hardware for some other time, even if it's a mid-gen refresh. It'd be cool, but I think that would probably hit harder at like Achilles or something like that type of thing. So no hardware in particular or anything along those lines. And lastly, no influencers. Nothing against influencers in general, but just like what they used to do on Twitch and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, they would talk for 5 minutes or 10 to 15 minutes in between each trailer. Yeah, we don't need any of that. And they've been doing a pretty good job with like the past couple of showcases and developer directs type of deal.
Hey, Fuzzy, you remember some time back when they had Keeley helping them out, and they had those influencers on there, and they thought, oh, I use my Xbox as a paperweight. I was like, okay, never have these bombs back again.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah, I hope they've learned from those mistakes in the past. But as far as the 3 things I do want to see, it could be a grouping of these games, but the main one on the top of the list for me is Compulsion's game, Project Midnight, I believe it's called. That one is a must. Project Cobalt, I think, is the NXL game, and then quote unquote Overdose, I think, as far as Kojima's game. I think all of these are probably close enough to see possible gameplay or some sort of something out of them. So hoping that those at least make some sort of an appearance. I also want release dates. Now, I know what Pong was saying as far as he doesn't want Windows and whatnot, but there's 2 games in particular I want a release date for, because one should be probably dropped either at the showcase or the demo for it at the showcase, and it come a little bit later. And then the other one, rumor has it that it might be the end of this year or early next year. So I want to see a date for Forza Motorsport, and I want to see a date for Hellblade 2. I think those are probably the closest to, one being that it's should be here soon, and then the other one is kind of rumored to be soon. So those 2 at least give some sort of date on those. And then lastly, kind of like what 3-Bit was saying, an update on a lot of the games from 2020, 2021. So Perfect Dark, Fable, Avowed, possibly even Everwild, State of Decay 3, Contraband, and Indiana Jones. So all of those, I think at this point, instead of CGI, vertical slices, I wouldn't say warranted, but at least something along those lines I think should be possible. Maybe not full-on gameplay per se, but like an in-engine vertical slice I think is reasonable, even if these games might be a year or 2 out. That should be within the cards. But yeah, that's basically it. I think at that point, everything that we've discussed works as far as making an awesome showcase that kind of mops the floor with the other showcase. But the only thing is that I get this little worrying in my stomach, because remember, like kind of like what Umber was saying, how they we had too many games, so we decided to hold some back. Like, don't. I hope they didn't view that other showcase and be like, oh yeah, what we got here, yeah, that definitely beats that. So hold off on Avowed, hold off on no. I hope they don't have that conversation. I hope
I don't
they're
think
like,
they did that.
oh, they
I
just
hope
they
not
fell
either.
on their face, and we're going to stick to our guns with our original showcase. In fact, we're going to do another mic drop thing in here. We're going to do drop the demo for Motorsport. It'll be available for download today, or maybe the game itself will be available
That'd be nice.
to download at the showcase. So
also too, Fuzzy, they can't have one of those one more things be another Redfall situation. They're gonna have to make sure.
No. Like,
Yeah.
For me, and I know you don't want to end a show on like a third party per se, but like if they're going to do a one more thing at this point, just to kind of lay it out on the table kind of deal, announce that you have the marketing rights, or do a trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6.
If they can
That, I
manage
think,
that one.
I mean, not to say that any of their first parties wouldn't be a better thing. Like, we know that they're working on Gear 6, and that's probably going to be what Coalition releases next, since the rumor of the other projects being shelved or canceled. I mean, Gear 6 would be a nice ending, but I think show the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. Let everybody know you got the marketing rights, and it shuts up a lot of those fake Sony insiders at the same time. So I think that would be a way to kind of, do a mic drop that definitely sends a signal that they're coming for, the jugular kind of thing. And that's all I got. Awesome ideas as far as things you want to see, guys, and things you don't want to see. And hopefully there's somebody listening, or hopefully they already know from what the feedback has been from the community. So we'll see.
Awesome. So I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show on that note, man. We had another banner night, man, breaking records left and right. Seemingly every week here, we break a new record at the Shop Podcast, man. I can't believe the growth here, but shout out to everybody who come out, watch us live, man. You guys are amazing. Shout out to all the new people who will be watching us later on the replay. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. We do this every single week. So if you want to be a part of this goodness, be a part of this greatness, subscribe, come holler at us, come back, check us out every week. I do multiple different videos throughout the week as well, too. Not only just the Shop Podcast, man, but this is what you're going to get, this type of quality every single week. So shout out to everybody who came out, showed love this week. But let's get to the guests, man. We have some phenomenal ones. We're going to start with you, 3-Bit, man. Appreciate you coming through. I know you don't have time. Your time is taken up, a lot of times, and you don't come on as often as I'm sure you'd like. But thank you, bro, for having you here. Spend a little bit of time with us, man. But let everybody know where they can find you, 3-Bit.
Yeah. Dude, this was really fun. I appreciate you, Blam, and everybody on the panel. Thanks for inviting me on the show. For the most part, I've been exclusively bought out by Mav. He has their
How much is he paying you?
It's disclosed.
Okay, fine.
No,
we'll talk later.
No, but this show was fun, and I really like being on the show. So I appreciate everybody in the chat, everybody who dropped by. Love you guys. You guys can follow me on Twitter at i3bit. I'm on FSP on Mondays, and then I do my show when I can at this point. But love y'all. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.
Awesome. Shout out to you, 3-Bit, for coming out, man. Check us out. Check 3-Bit out, I should say. All this information is down in the description below, man. Great guy. He's on a lot of different shows. Go follow him on Twitter. Going to be the easiest way to keep up with it. So you won't be the last time you're on here, 3-Bit. I'm sure we'll talk closer to this, maybe even closer to this event happening, this Xbox showcase. So yeah, I'm sure we'll talk prior to, but shout out to you, man. Next, Umbra, thank you, bro. Thank you for coming out with us, man. A friend of mine, a colleague, one of the most amazing gamers that I know. Always on playing video games and stuff like that too. We just got out of a party not that long ago, but let everybody know where they can find you at, bro. And thank you for hanging out with us.
Oh man, thank you all. It's always a blast to be here with you, gentlemen, and to have my ego over cloud Pongs. It's always an honor to do that first and foremost.
Really?
Just to put him down just a little.
The lack of self-awareness is unbelievable here.
Your ego, that's the crazy thing, is that you actually think your ego could be as big as Pong's.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a fair point. happy
can't
birthday
do
again
this.
to Pong. But I just,
Yeah, happy birthday, Pong. Also, that.
Right.
Thanks for coming here on your last time ever on the Shop Podcast, bro. We appreciate it.
Farq asked me to sing happy birthday to you, but see, Farq, it works better from singing it to a lady. It's a man to
No.
a man. It's not.
Farq,
All
terrible
right,
idea.
All right, Farq, you twisted my arm.
Oh Jesus, I'm leaving. Bye.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
It's the first.
to
This is the first.
He said 65 and going. That's
I'm speechless.
That's
I'm
crazy.
absolutely speechless.
Got the vocals
No.
in there.
No, but yeah, appreciate you guys for having me. You all, of course, can find me on Twitter, Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite. You'll find me either way. And I'm on 3 shows currently on Boom's podcast, Xbox Factor, on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock Eastern. My own podcast, The Fix, on Thursdays at 8 o'clock Eastern. And the Xbox Infinite podcast at 8 o'clock Eastern on Fridays. So you all can come by and see me on any of those days. And I greatly appreciate the support.
Awesome, man. Shout out to you, Umbra, for coming out, hanging out with us, brother. Like
Much
I said,
love.
if you guys know, roll out the red carpet. Go check out Umbra, everything he's doing. Got the podcast. He's on a few different ones, man. Go show him that love and support for coming to hang out with us, man. And let me throw this over to my 2 right-hand man here. Another textbook show in the books for us. We got a lot of stuff coming up, bro, but let everybody know where they can find you.
Oh man, it was awesome being on here with you guys, and always awesome having Umbra and 3-Bit on as well. Love hearing your guys' takes on things. And Pong, happy birthday once again.
Thank you,
brother. I know pretty much you're now going to be part of the PCMR race. I'm still kind of on towing the line between console and PC, but man, always fun being on here with you. And PTK, always a pleasure being on the show with you, man. Love doing this stuff. For any of those of you that want to hear my endless rambles or rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. With this being Memorial Day weekend, everybody be safe, have fun, and enjoy. If you have the time off, enjoy your time off, but definitely have fun and be safe out there. That's all I got.
Awesome. And shout out to you, Fuzz, for being Mr. Consistent here every week, man, bringing that energy, man. But last but not least, the Duracell battery of the Shop podcast, Mr. Pong Harvey. Another awesome show, man.
Yeah.
Been a phenomenal week, bro. Let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, absolutely incredible to be here with all of you on my birthday. What a way to celebrate it. Again, I wouldn't want to be with anybody else than being around you guys and being around this chat, and the entire community again has just been phenomenal. Steele and I ended season 2 this morning on my birthday.
Happy birthday,
and again,
brother.
yeah,
Man,
thanks,
happy
3-Bit.
birthday.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you guys so much. Again, this is awesome. I love Saturday nights. This one was extra special. 3-Bit, thank you for giving us your time, man, and being here. We didn't even get to quiz you on some of the knowledge that you have that you won't share. We'll do that next time. But no, thanks for showing
Next
up,
time.
3-Bit, and being here, man. Always, you know what it is, man. All love and respect. Umbra, peace, man. I hope you have a good day. Hey.
Right after,
That is so
right after I sing happy birthday to you, this is the text I get.
That is so petty. Lord have mercy.
I took that singing as a punishment, sir. No, listen. Love you, Umbra. You know, always, man. Nothing but respect to everything that you got going on. Shout out to you. Congratulations on your channel success and all that kind of stuff. And the Fix blowing up. So you just keep doing your thing, man. And you know how much I love podcasting with you. So it's just nothing but love, man. You know, I just got to give you a hard time because it is fun. And you do the same to me. So hey, that's what we do. And obviously, brothers PTK and Fuzzy, again, extra special thanks to both of you for giving me another great night here on Saturday night. And chat, you guys were absolutely all amazing. Again, record-breaking numbers for the shop. Man, this is what we talked about, PTK. This is what you deserve, man. You've been putting in all this time and effort effort. Finally, we're seeing the growth, and it's just beautiful to have the community showing up here with great discussion, interaction, and just support. And that's what this is all about. So thank you all for being here. All love and respect to all of you as well. You know the drill. Pongsoul on Xbox, Pongsoul on Twitter. Otherwise, you know where to find me. So next week it starts all over again. Tuesday, I am not on the panel, but I got to keep promoting it because it's my man Boomstick and it's Double Barrel Gaming, and he's a maniac. 5 days a week, the man is going live, and you got to go support him because Xbox Factor podcast on Tuesdays is All Good Things Green, and it's one of the best. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Thursday nights, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time. We had a fantastic show this week. I think we went for like 4 hours. 3.5, 4 hours. Go check it out. Mav and I just, man, we just have such a great time catching up on Thursdays. But this week it's gonna be a little bit different because we're not skipping Diablo 4 launch night. Okay, we're gonna be there live. We're gonna be streaming. Steel will be joining us. I'm sure much of the Fun Speculation family will be joining us. It's gonna be a riot. We're gonna have a great time. So join the stream for Diablo on Thursday. But normally we do a regular show 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time for PM to PM. Friday, Xbox Ultimate. Mav has laid down the law, and we are going to actually take time off from Diablo 4, and we're going to do Xbox Ultimate, which I can't believe he's making us do this, but he is. This is the type of person Mav is. No, we're going to have a great time on Friday night. Xbox Ultimate, we are going to do a showcase. We're going to do a showcase prediction show. So it's going to be fun there, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time on Xbox Ultimate over on Fun Speculations channel. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, it's my brother from another, Steel Rain, and I on Living Split Screen. We had record numbers this morning as well. We are at over 850 subs. We gained 21 today. We're on our way to 1K. So please come check us out every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. Again, we go 3+ hours. Today, it was over 5 hours. You just never know what you can get from me and Steel. We love to talk. We get to chat involved. It's a great community that we've got going on over there. So check out Living Split Screen every Saturday morning. Otherwise, it is the golden age of gaming, people. We are under a week from the unofficial launch, the early launch of Diablo 4, which is going to be one of the biggest games of the year. This has been a trend this year. 2023 is turning out to be exactly what we talked about leading up to it, that this could potentially be one of the greatest years of all time. This is going to continue forward, folks. This is the golden age. So get out there, play what you love what you play. Please don't forget what this weekend is about here in the U.S. for Memorial Weekend, and remember all the service members who gave their life for us as well. Shout out to everybody out there. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll talk to y'all real soon.
Well, shout out to you, Pong. Appreciate you every single week, man. You guys know what to do. Go follow Pong on Twitter, the easiest place to keep up with what he has going on, with all the different shows he's on. But last but not least, your boy PTK Blam across the board. Hit me up here on Xbox Live if you want to play some games, on Twitter if you want to keep up with the show, or you got any type of suggestions. I mean, I thank you guys so much for the growth. The 120 plus people in chat today, man. It's insane to see the growth. So thank you. Come back again next week, same time, same place. We're going to have a bunch of fun. We do this every single week, man. Shout out to everybody watching on the replay as well. But we'll see you guys later. Have a long, safe, enjoyable weekend. Please have fun, but be safe. Peace out, everybody. Have a good one.
Later.